So welcome everyone. I think we are ready to start. We have almost 90 participants. I would like to welcome you all to the 5th General Introductory Training in Horizon Europe. And it is dedicated to Cluster 4, to digital, industry, and space, although we are not going to focus on space. We're going to focus on digital transformation and resilient industry. We have some very interesting presentations for you, and we'll start without further ado with Dr. Halle from TÜBİTAK. She's going to give you an introduction to the webinar and to the services that TÜBİTAK has to offer. Dr. Halle, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Odysseus. Ben şimdi Türkçe devam etmek istiyorum. Değerli katılımcılar, hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Ben Halle Ay, TÜBİTAK Uluslararası İşbirliği Daire Başkanlığı Avrupa Birliği Çerçeve Programlar Müdürlüğü'nde Ulusal İrtibat Noktası olarak görev yapmaktayım. Bugün sizlere Ufuk Avrupa Programı kapsamındaki Küme 4, yani dijital, endüstri ve uzay kapsamında bir bilgilendirme toplantısı düzenledik. Şimdiden hepiniz için verimli bir toplantı olmasını temenni ediyorum. Sizlerin de bildiği üzere biz yaklaşık 3 aydır Ufuk Avrupa Programı kapsamında çeşitli etkinlikler düzenliyoruz sizleri bilgilendirmek adına. Ufuk Avrupa Programı kapsamında 3 farklı bileşen bulunmakta. Bu bileşenlerden ikincisi küresel sorunlar ve endüstriyel rekabet. Bu ikinci bileşen kapsamında küresel sorunlarla ilgili konularda çok ortaklı araştırmalar yapılması, Avrupa sanayisinin teknolojik gelişim seviyesini daha ileriye taşıyacak çalışmalar gerçekleştirilmesi bekleniyor. Bu bileşen kapsamında farklı alanların bir araya getirildiği 6 küme bulunmakta. 4. kümede dijital, endüstri ve uzay kümesi. Bugünkü etkinliğimiz bu kapsamda. 4. küme daha önceki 3 farklı alanın, yani Ufuk 2020'deki 3 farklı alanın birleşiminden oluştu. Bunlar nelerdi? Birincisi bilgi ve iletişim teknolojileri, ikincisi nanoteknoloji, ileri malzemeler, ileri imalat ve ileri işleme teknolojileriydi. 3. alan ise uzaydı. Bu 3 alanın birleşmesinden şimdi küme 4 olan dijital, endüstri ve uzay kümesi oluşturuldu. Küme 4'ün genel amacı nedir diye bakacak olursak, Avrupa Birliği endüstrisinin rekabet üstünlüğünü ve özelliğini garantiye almak için endüstrinin daha fazla dijitalleşmesini sağlamak, iklim nötr, döngüsel ve temiz endüstriyi teşvik etmek. Küme 4 kapsamında desteklenecek olan konuları kategorize etmeye çalışırsak, örneğin dijital alanında dijital kilit teknolojiler, veri, yapay zeka ve robotik ve yeni nesil internet kapsamında konular desteklenecektir. Endüstri kapsamında ise imalat teknolojileri, ileri malzemeler, döngüsel endüstriler, düşük karbonlu ve temiz endüstriler konularında çalışmaların yapılması planlanmaktadır. Uzay alanında ise uydu haberleşmesi, yer gözlemi, uzay uygulamalarının geliştirilmesi ve uzay ulaşımı kapsamında projelerin geliştirilmesi beklenmektedir. Küme 4'ün toplam bütçesi 15,5 milyar avrodur ve Ufuk 2020 Ufuk Avrupa Programı'nın toplam bütçesinin %16'sına tekabül etmektedir. Elimizde olan son taslak programlar itibariyle çağrıların açılış tarihi 15 Nisan olarak bildirilmiştir. Fakat gelen son duyumlara göre çağrıların açılışının Mayıs ayının başına uzayacağını tahmin ediyoruz. Endüstri alanındaki çağrıların kapanış tarihinin 23 Eylül olması bekleniyor. Dijital alanındaki çağrıların kapanış tarihinin de 8 Eylül'de olması bekleniyor. Biz bu alanda 4 kişi olarak çalışıyoruz. Ezgi Hanım, Özlem Hanım ve Erencan Bey dijital alanından sorumlu. Ben endüstri alanıyla ilgili konu başlıklarından sorumluyum. Özlem Hanım ayrıca uzayla ilgili konu başlıklarından sorumlu. Şimdi ben sizlere Küme 4 kapsamında daha önce Ufuk 2020 programında 2020 yılında kaydettiğimiz başarılardan bahsetmek istiyorum. Özellikle nanoteknoloji, ileri malzemeler, ileri imalat konusunda 2020 yılında biri koordinatör olmak üzere Türkiye'den 15 kuruluşumuz Avrupa Komisyonu'ndan toplamda yaklaşık 5,5 milyon avroluk bir hibe kazandı. Gördüğünüz üzere bu alan endüstri yoğun bir alan. Örneğin rafineriden alüminyuma, beyaz eşya sektöründen otomotive kadar çok farklı endüstri sektörlerinin yer alabileceği bir alan. Endüstrinin yanı sıra elbette ki özellikle RIA projelerinde, yani Research and Innovation projelerinde üniversitelerin ve araştırma kuruluşlarının da yer alabileceği bir alan. Buna bir örnek vermek gerekirse 2020 yılında Türkiye'den Konya Teknik Üniversitesi WEST2 projesinin koordinatörlüğünü yürütmekte ve bu kapsamda da 11 farklı ülkeden 17 ortaklı bir kuruluşun koordinatörlüğünü yürütecek. Yine bu kapsamda diğer başarı örneklerimiz de bilgi ve iletişim teknolojileri alanından. Excel ortak girişimi çağrısında da Türkiye'den 12 ortağımızın yer aldığı 3 farklı proje Avrupa Komisyonu tarafından 2 milyon avronun üzerinde yine hibe almaya hak kazandı. Ve bu kapsamda da Türkiye'den yapay zeka sistemleri, ek hesaplamalarında yapay zeka kullanımı ve yeni nesil gömülü faz değiştirme belleği gibi konularda paydaşlarımızın yazmış olduğu projeler desteklenmeye hak kazandı. Şimdi ben sizlere TÜBİTAK olarak sağladığımız destek ve ödül programlarımızdan bahsetmek istiyorum. Ufuk 2020 ile başlayan ve sonrasında da ekosistemimizin başarılarını teşvik etmek adına sağladığımız programlar. Bu programlardan COVID-19 öncesinde en fazla yararlanılan destek programımız seyahat desteğiydi. Bu kapsamda da Türkiye'den Avrupa Birliği projelerinde yer almak isteyen paydaşlarımızın proje pazarları, bilgi günleri ve konsorsiyum toplantılarında yer almak için bir takım destekler sağlıyorduk. Peki bunlar nelerdi diye bakacak olursak da örneğin uçak bileti, konaklama, toplantı ücreti ve vize masrafları karşılanıyordu. Aynı zamanda gündelikler de karşılanıyordu ve toplamda 1500 avroya kadar seyahat desteği verilebiliyordu. Bir diğer önemli desteğimiz de koordinatörlüğü destekleme programı. Bu program kapsamında da yine Türkiye'den Avrupa Birliği çerçeve programları kapsamında koordinatör olarak yer almak isteyen kurum kuruluşlarımız, proje yazma sunma eğitimi desteği ya da proje yazdırma, aynı zamanda proje ön değerlendirme desteği alabilmekteler. Bunların yanı sıra yine konsorsiyumlarını kurma amaçlı eğer seyahat etmek istiyorlarsa, organizasyon düzenlemek istiyorlarsa da yine koordinasyon destekleme programı kapsamında TÜBİTAK'tan destek alabilirler. Yine bir diğer önemli desteğimiz de ağlara üyelik desteği. Bu kapsamda da Türkiye'de faaliyet gösteren kuruluşların bilim ve teknoloji alanında Avrupa çapında etkin olan ağ yapılarına üye olabilmeleri için bizler TÜBİTAK olarak destek sağlıyoruz. Burada nihai amacımız elbette TÜBİTAK'taki paydaşlarımızın Avrupa Birliği çerçeve programlarına daha fazla katılmasını sağlamak. Şu anda ağlara üyelik desteğimiz açık bulunmakta ve 30 Nisan'a kadar da başvuruları kabul edecek. Şu anda bizim Ufuk 2020 için geliştirdiğimiz web sitemiz bulunmakta. ufuk2020.org.tr. İPAK projemiz kapsamında biz Ufuk Avrupa programı için yeni bir web sitesi hazırlıyoruz. Bu web sitemiz hazır oluncaya kadar hala duyurularımızı ve etkinliklerimizi Ufuk 2020 sitesinden takip edebilirsiniz. Yeni sitemiz hazır olduğunda hali hazırda kayıtlı olan bütün kullanıcılarımızın bilgisi yeni sitemize aktarılacaktır. Kayıtlı olmayan kullanıcılarımızın da yine burada gördüğünüz üye ol seçeneğinden bir an önce kayıt yapmalarını önemli rica ediyoruz. Ve bu kapsamda da alanlarımız özelinde desteklenen proje bilgilerine, alanlarımız özelinde gerçekleştirilen etkinliklere, başarı hikayelerine biz yer veriyoruz. Hepsini buradan takip etme şansına sahip olacaksınız. Aynı zamanda yine Ufuk Avrupa kapsamında LinkedIn hesabımız ve Twitter hesaplarımız da bulunmakta. Yine Ufuk Avrupa için geliştirdiğimiz yeni özel logomuz da bulunmakta. Bu kapsamda da bizler görünürlüğümüzü artırmak adına çalışmalarımıza olanca hızıyla devam etmeye çalışıyoruz. Şimdi ben sizlere IPA 2 projesinden bahsetmek istiyorum. Yani IPA 2 kapsamında desteklenen Turkey'in Horizon 2020 Phase 2 projesi. IPA ne demek? IPA katılım öncesi mali yardım amacı. Bizim Turkey'in Horizon 2020 projesinin amacı da Türkiye'nin Avrupa Birliği çerçeve programlarından daha fazla yararlanmasına destek olmak, bilim ve teknoloji alanlarındaki kapasitesini güçlendirmeyi sağlamaktır. Projenin faydalanıcısı şu anda TÜBİTAK'tır. Bu kapsamda, proje kapsamında çeşitli eğitim faaliyetleri yürütülmektedir. Danışmanlık ve proje değerlendirme hizmetleri yapılmaktadır. Yine işbirliği ağlarının geliştirilmesi için de çeşitli etkinlikler düzenlenmektedir. Şu anda gerçekleştirmiş olduğumuz etkinliği de biz yine bu IPA 2 projemiz kapsamında gerçekleştiriyoruz. Peki biz şimdiye kadar İPA kapsamında neler yaptık? Çeşitli uluslararası proje pazarları düzenledik. Özellikle 2019 yılında 2 önemli büyük proje pazarı etkinliğimiz oldu. Bunlardan bir tanesi Temmuz 2019 yılında İstanbul'da düzenlediğimiz ICT Turkey'di. Yine Kasım 2019'da Belçika'da, Brüksel'de düzenlediğimiz Cities of the Future etkinliğimiz oldu. Yine bu da proje pazarı etkinliğimizdi. Özellikle bu 2 proje pazarı etkinliğimiz sayesinde biz son zamandaki başarılarımıza önemli bir ivme kattığımıza inanıyoruz. Burada gerçekleştirilen sunumlar, ikili görüşmeler sayesinde Türkiye'deki paydaşlarımızın da yeteneklerinin özellikle bu Avrupa camiasında da daha fazla öğrenildiğini ve paydaşlarımızın projelerde daha fazla yer aldığını düşünüyoruz. Sadece uluslararası proje pazarları ya da bilgi günleri düzenlemiyoruz. Biz bu kapsamlarda bazı yetkin kuruluşlara uluslararası çalışma ziyaretleri de düzenliyoruz. Örneğin Türkiye'den paydaşlarımızı yerinde ziyaretler yapmak için Avrupa'daki etkin kuruluşlara götürüyoruz. Bu kapsamda örnek vermek gerekirse de Ocak 2020'de robotik, akıllı üretim teknolojileri ve mikroelektronik kapsamında da DFKI ve Fraunhofer'a bir çalışma ziyareti düzenlemiştik ve buradan bu kapsamda çalışan paydaşlarımızın oradaki yetkin kişilerle buluşmasına, fikir alışverişinde bulunmasına vesile olmuştuk. Biliyorsunuz Covid süresince Green Deal çağrısı yayınlandı. Yani Ufuk 2020 programının 1 milyar avroluk bütçeli son çağrısı. Biz bu zor dönemde de yine Covid kapsamında da Green Deal çağrısı içinde önemli etkinlikler düzenlemeye çalıştık. Bu kapsamda İPO projesi kapsamında özellikle 40'ın üzerinde etkinlik düzenlemeye çalıştık ve yaklaşık 4600 araştırmacıya ulaşmayı başardık. Özellikle biz Ekim ayında Green Deal proje pazarı düzenledik ve burada da 900'e yakın Türk ve Avrupalı paydaşımıza bir araya getirmeyi başardık. Ve bu kapsamda yine 700'den fazla birebir görüşme sağlandı. Bu görüşmeler sayesinde de Green Deal çağrısında Türk ortaklarımızın başarısına önemli katkı sağladığımızı inanıyoruz. Biz yine İPA projesi kapsamında etkinliklerimizi düzenlemeye devam ediyoruz. Örneğin gelecek 2 etkinliğimizden size bahsetmek istiyorum. 19-20 Nisan tarihlerinde açık bilim ve araştırma verilerinin yönetimi konusunda bir proje pazarı etkinliği olacak. 20 Nisan 2021 tarihinde de sağlık alanında desteklenen Transkan 3 Eranet çağrısı kapsamında bir networking yani proje pazarı etkinliği düzenlenecek. Projemizin web sayfasından yani Turkey'in h2020.eu adresinden bütün gelişmeleri takip edebilirsiniz. Burada şimdiye kadar düzenlemiş olduğumuz etkinliklerin kayıtları ve sunumlarına ulaşabilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda gerçekleştireceğimiz etkinliklerin de bilgilerine yine projemizin web sayfasından ulaşabilirsiniz. Benim şimdilik sizlere vereceğim bilgi böyle. Eğer bizim Ulusal Koordinasyon Ofisimizle ilgili sorularınız olması durumunda ukayek.tubitak.gov.tr adresinden bizlere ulaşabilirsiniz. Özellikle küme 4 kapsamında sorularınız olması durumunda da ncpdis@tubitak.gov.tr adresinden sorularınızı almaktan memnuniyet duyuyoruz. Hepiniz için verimli bir etkinlik olmasını diliyorum. İyi günler diliyorum. Odysseus, we can proceed.
Thank you very much, Hale. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for presenting the events that we are about to organize this month, and also our website and help desk. I would like to note that help desk is a very good resource of information. We have everything there, all past events that we have organized, and you will be able to find there not only the presentations of the events, but recordings of all our webinars as well. Before I go to Marta Calderaro, which is the NCP for MAPRE from Italy, I would like to run a quick poll to see how many of you have already participated in previous programs like FP7 or Horizon 2020. So Kemal, could you bring the Slido forum for us, please? Okay, I guess you know how it works. You scan the QR code and you will go to the Slido app where you can respond. Oh, come on, we have 136 participants. I want to see all of you responding. Okay, we'll leave that for a few moments. Make sure you scan the code. This code will remain valid for throughout the event. We are going to run a few more questions as we move to the next presentations, because we want to get a better idea of your experiences and your needs. And this will help us to design our next programs in a better way. So don't be afraid. Okay. Now scan the code and okay, I think you can still scan the code and respond to this question, but I think it's time that we move on to the next presentation from Marta, and she will present, she will give us an introduction to the Horizon Europe strategic plan and the work program. And she will explain how we come from EU priorities and EU policies, how we evolve these into the strategic plan, the work program, and finally to call for proposals. Marta, floor is yours.
Thank you, Odysseus. Can you hear me well? I'm checking if I can also share the screen. Let me check if it works for all of you. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Okay.
Yes, all good now.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. So thank you for the introduction. I'm Marta Calderaro. I'm the previous national contact point for information and communication technologies and also future and emerging technologies. So we will see each other also next week introducing the European Innovation Council. I'm coming from APRE, the Italian Agency for the Promotion of European Research. And I will be I was expecting today to be officially nominated as national contact point for the European Innovation Council and Cluster for Digital Industry and Space. Of course, as you know, we are in the process to finalize the nomination from the member states. So in particular, today, as Odysseus was introducing, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of what is Horizon Europe strategic plan and how this brings to the work program definition for the different part of the main Horizon Europe program. So actually, we are going to see the Horizon Europe structure. It's a strategic plan defined for 2021-2024. We are going to check how the European priorities are going to drive the work program destinations. We are going to see how, in particular, the strategic orientation, the expected impacts are corresponding to the work program destination, and which is the novel approach that the European Commission is fostering to support and enhance the impact of the program as a whole. So starting from Horizon Europe, I'm sorry, I have to check the clock, otherwise I'm afraid to be not in time. So looking at Horizon Europe, as you know, is the major European program, the biggest and most ambitious program that was defined by the European Union to foster research and innovation. In particular, the program, it's really relevant to emphasize that it builds from the success of the previous Horizon 2020 program by improving in some ways which is the support to breakthrough innovation through the European Innovation Council, but also to enhancing a greater impact on research and innovation through dedicated objective-driven missions and a partnership landscape. As you can see, those words, this is a quote from the European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth, Marilia Gabriel, which in particular wanted to foster and I would say to highlight the relevance of this specific funding program, the Horizon Europe funding program. So as we mentioned, Horizon Europe is, we mentioned in the agenda, Horizon Europe is strictly connected to the European Commission priorities. The European Commission has defined 6 different priorities for its action plan for 2019-2014. In particular, in December 2019, it launched the European Green Deal to strive to be a climate neutral continent across Europe. In February 2020, the European Union has launched its Europe Fit for Digital Age, the European digital strategy to empower people, businesses, as well as government with the new generation of technologies. Of course, the European Union has launched in March 2020, and we are going to probably see an update of the European industrial strategy, which is connected to this priority and economy that works for people, which would like to support the social fairness and prosperity of the European Union as a whole. Within the 6 Commission priorities, we can see that Europe is fostering more and more its position at the global scale by strengthening the leadership, in particular on responsible research and innovation, as well as within all the different priorities by fostering the different twin green and digital transition, by looking also at the European values, in particular promoting the European way of life, so guarantee equality in the process on accessing opportunities, as well as fostering the democratic values across Europe and beyond. So the vision behind Horizon 2020 is to support a sustainable, fair, and prosperous future for people, for the planet, based on the European value. Therefore, we can see, and we will see how much the different European priorities are connected within the Horizon Europe structure, in particular by tackling the climate change. So we can see that the European Union within the different programs has defined a budgetary target of the 35% to tackling the climate change, but also supporting the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, which were defined by the United Nations, and which are going to be directly connected with the actions supported within Horizon Europe. Of course, another really major objective of the Horizon Europe program is to boost the European Union competitiveness and growth. We can see that the European Commission has defined in a way the main strengths and barriers to foster its its leadership in the global environment. So we have seen that the European Commission has defined, find that within the European Union, only the 7% of the world population is represented at a global scale. But beside this, I would say, little number concerning the population, 1/3 of the high quality scientific publications are made by the European Union community. And furthermore, 20% of the research and development expenditure is of the global research and development expenditure is represented by the European one. Nevertheless, the European Commission has I would say, has understood that we can do better on transforming I would say, the scientific excellence within innovation and entrepreneurship. Therefore, the objective also to support the research, development, and innovation within Horizon Europe, it fosters with a major highlights and major strengths the innovation and entrepreneurship concepts among the program. So we are going to have a funding program, Horizon Europe, with a budget that is about 95.5 billion for the entire period of the European framework programs. So in particular, from 2021 until 2027, which is mainly supported via a different set of budgets. So via the Next Generation Europe dedicated budget, but also which is going to be implemented through the Horizon Europe program, the European Defence Fund related programs, and complemented also by the Euratom Research and Training Program. So the structure that also Hale was presenting previously, of course in Turkish, so I didn't understand what she was saying, but I'm quite sure that she gave an overall representation of the structure of Horizon Europe. The structure itself is going to see in particular a specific program within the European Defence Fund, which is focusing only on the related defense research and development dedicated actions. Within Horizon Europe, and in particular the specific program implementing Horizon Europe and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, we are going to look at all the related effort on research and innovation, in particular in civil application, via the different structure that Horizon Europe that I'm going to explain to you today within Horizon Europe. So Horizon Europe is mainly structured in 3 different pillars. The first pillar dedicated to excellent science, where we can see the program, the European Research Council, Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions, and research infrastructures. Within the second pillar, this is going to foster the global challenges and European industrial competitiveness via its own 6 clusters dedicated to health, culture, creativity, and inclusive society, civil security for society, digital industry and space, which I'm going to present you in a separated session today, climate, energy and mobility, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment. We have also a specific support within Horizon Europe and Euratom to the Joint Research Center, which I'm not going to touch today in our presentation. And then we have a third pillar mainly dedicated to the disruptive innovation across Europe, which is called Innovative Europe, which is structured in the European Innovation Council, the European Innovation Ecosystem, and the support that the European Commission is fostering and giving to the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. We are going to have a dedicated session next week on Innovative Europe and in particular on the European Innovation Council. So we are going to look at the European Innovation Council in particular next week. So Horizon Europe, as I was mentioning previously, is mainly based on lessons learned from Horizon 2020, in particular from its interim evaluation process. But we can see that there are several novelties, in particular the introduction and consolidation of the European Innovation Council, its focus on objective-driven research and innovation missions, the support on strengthening the international cooperation by expanding and extending the association possibilities, in particular, the willingness to reinforce the open science policy principles, so related to the open access, but also to the open data management plans. In particular, to foster via a new approach to partnership, which is the research and innovation landscape, and rationalize a bit, which is the funding landscape around the European partnerships, and as well encouraging the participation within the European research areas by spreading excellence across Europe. So we are going to see all the different novelties with different information. Concerning the European Innovation Council, we can see that we have a 10 billion program to identify, develop, and scale up breakthrough technologies and disruptive innovation across Europe through different schemes. The one dedicated to exploration, which is supporting research and innovation, in particular on breakthrough technologies within the EIC Pathfinder. The exploitation within EIC transition activities to support the technology maturation from proof of concept to validation. And the EIC Accelerator plus Equity Fund to scaling up the disruptive innovation and the deep tech innovation, which are mainly managed by small and medium enterprise, startups, spin-off, but also scale-ups. One of the major introduction within the Horizon Europe program is the concept of the research and innovation missions, where actually the European Commission is fostering the via an objective-driven approach, is fostering the research and innovation actions which are dedicated to specific main challenges. Within a mission, therefore, we have a portfolio of actions across disciplines which intended to support the achievement of inspirational and measurable goal within a set of time frame in specific field of interest. In particular, we have the definition from the European Commission of 5 different mission areas, one dedicated to cancer, one dedicated to climate neutral and smart cities. But we have in particular also 3 specific missions dedicated to the European Green Deal, in particular within the adaptation to climate change, including the societal transformation, healthy oceans, seas, coastal and inland waters, as well as soil health and food. In particular, within the mission dedicated concept, we are going to have several different work programs. So 5 different work programs, which are going to consolidate at the moment the mission related concept and the actions that are going to be supported in the next future, so in 2022, 2023 within Horizon Europe. So at the moment, we are in the phase of the consolidation of the different mission areas and the different related partnership across the missions. Another specific concept related to Horizon Europe is the rationalization, the effort to rationalize, which was the previous approach on the European partnership. The European Commission has understood that, in particular, aggregating and consolidating the effort of specific research and innovation communities on specific technological domains, for example, should give also the possibility to find relevant ways to agree on technological visions, technological roadmap, understanding which are going to be the strategic research and innovation agendas on a specific technological domain. Therefore, the European Commission has defined a new approach to rationalize the different set of European partnership that before Horizon Europe was mentioning, I would say, a number of 120 partnership beside launching also calls beside Horizon 2020, and now has defined a specific definition of European partnership. Those are the ones that support via the consultation of the research and innovation community to the definition of which are the strategic orientation for a specific technological or application domain. So we have a distinction on different European partnership in co-program, co-funding, and institutionalized. Within the co-program partnership, the idea is to support the definition, in particular, of Horizon Europe research and innovation related actions. So by looking at the research and innovation community behind the partnership and trying to define together with the partnership which are going to be the research and innovation effort on that specific technological domain. Therefore, we are going to see that we are going to have different co-program partnerships that are going to be cited in our work programs. Within the co-funded partnerships, the idea is to support a specific commitment by different member states and the European Union in order to support a specific effort on research and innovation in a domain, which could be technological or applicative domain in particular. Within the co-funded partnership, therefore, we are going to have a set of different open calls that are going to be launched by the European Commission, the different ERANET co-fund actions, as well as making a direct contribution from the specific member state or associated country that would like to support that specific technological domain. Within the institutionalized partnership, the agreement is not as the co-funded via the European Commission and several member states or associated countries, but here with the institutionalization, we have also the industrial association that take part in the process, and which are giving also a long-term dimension and a high integration in terms of efforts that are going to be supported via a specific technological domain, in particular via the integration of the support from the European Commission, the member states or associated country that would like to foster that specific domain, and the industrial association behind them. So before we have seen Hale that was presenting in particular the Excel joint undertaking for making an example. This was an institutionalized partnership. So the partnership, as I was mentioning to you, are the initiative where the European Commission, together with the private and public partners, are committed to support the development and implementation of specific program research and innovation activities. Within the partnership, we can see that there is going to be the representation of industrial associations or different industries and corporates, universities, research organizations, bodies with a private public service, as well as bodies relevant at local, regional, national, or international levels. At the moment, in particular, the European partnership defined for Horizon Europe are 49, specifically addressed and cited by the strategic plan that we are going to look at more in depth afterwards. So as you can see, there is actually a really high relevant definition of the different partnership and all the partnership that are supporting also the research and innovation efforts within the specific clusters of Horizon Europe, or as well as horizontal cross-pillar support. But we have seen also that in Horizon Europe, one of the major novelties is also to strengthen the international cooperation efforts and the openness to association within the program. So we are going to see that actually I know that Turkey is around the association process for Horizon Europe, but we are going to see that also other relevant countries are associating and are taking the bilateral agreements for guaranteeing the association to Horizon Europe. In particular, we know that, for example, Canada is making a specific agreement for the association in Horizon Europe. Of course, the process for the association is mainly devoted to tackling together, which are the global societal challenges, but also to attract and access the world best talents, expertises, and resources across the international landscape. But also, of course, enhance, which are the supply and demand of innovative solution at international level and across Europe as well. One of the other pillars, which is mainly at the basis of the novelties of Horizon Europe, but taking advantage from the experience of Horizon 2020, is the strengthening of the principle of the open science in order to support a better dissemination and exploitation of the research and innovation results, but also to support the active engagement of the society among those different research and innovation efforts. So we can see that the pilot on open access and on open access to research data are becoming mandatory in Horizon Europe, where the European Commission is fostering the mandatory publication of the different peer-reviewed publications that are made within the specific programs, as well as via the open access to research data. Furthermore, we have talked about widening the participation and spreading excellence within the European research area. In particular, here the support is to fostering via a different set of services and action stories, the matchmaking opportunities, but also the recognition of the different participation, which are the main excellent initiative across Europe, but also which are the main opportunities to foster the brain circulation across Europe. This is actually a specific effort in order to support and support the spreading of the excellence within the European research area. All those different principles actually are giving. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move a bit, but I cannot. Okay. All those different principles that we have cited before are actually emphasizing which are the 9 Horizon Europe key impact pathways. So within all those different, I would say, principles and actions like the European Innovation Council and the objective-driven research and innovation missions, the idea from the European Commission is the one to support the scientific impact, in particular by creating high quality new knowledge, by strengthening the human capital in research and innovation, by fostering the open science approach. In terms of societal impact, so by addressing which are the European policy priorities that we have seen before, as well as the global challenges through research and innovation, but also delivering benefits and impact via the research and innovation mission and strengthening the uptake of the research and innovation within the society, as well as supporting the economic technological impact with the different actions, in particular by generating innovation-based growth, creating an ecosystem that is giving more and better jobs opportunities, and as well leveraging investments in research and innovation. So by mentioning the different structure of the Horizon Europe and the different, I would say, key concept at the very basis of Horizon Europe, we can see now in a better understanding the Horizon Europe structure, which is actually defined in the three different pillars that I was mentioning above. So as you can see, all the different pillars within excellent science, global challenges and European industrial competitiveness and innovative Europe are making a coherent approach to support the definition and the achievement of the 9 key expected impact of Horizon Europe as a whole. And as you can see, there is a systemic approach that is based mainly on making the Horizon Europe program as an impact program as an overall. And here, the idea is to support this systemic approach through an interdisciplinary and an intersectoral point of view. So within the first pillar, we can see that we have the specific objective to develop, promote, and advance the scientific excellence via supporting also the creation and diffusion of the high quality new fundamental and applied knowledge, skills, and technologies. Here we have a strong support on the bottom-up research via the European Research Council, but also the opportunity within the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions for training our PhD, for example, as well as supporting the research infrastructures. Within the second pillar, the cluster and the 6th dedicated cluster, the objective is to generate knowledge, but also strengthen the impact of research and innovation in the development of the and the implementation of the European Union policies, as well as supporting the access and facilitating the uptake of the innovative solution across European industry with a specific attention on small and medium enterprises, and as well across the society in order to address the different global challenges. Here, a direct connection within the European Commission priorities as well as the Sustainable Development Goals is going to be quite relevant. Sorry. For the third pillar, the objective is to foster all forms of innovation by, in particular, supporting and facilitating the technology development, the demonstration, and the knowledge and technology transfer, in particular via specific action devoted to the small and medium enterprise, startups, and spin-off. Within the transversal pillar dedicated to widening participation and strengthening the European research area, the objective is to increase the impact and the attractiveness of the European research area as a whole, so also supporting the low research and innovation performing member states. So concerning the different structure, we can see that we have a bottom-up approach within the first and the third pillar, where the European Commission is not going to define in particular the different technological or application or scientific objective of a specific proposal. But we have also a specific top-down approach that is going to be fostered actually across all the three pillars. In particular, as you can see within the second pillar, the top-down approach is quite extensive in terms that we do not have the opportunity to present the idea as we would like to present it, but we are going to check all the different work programs and the different open call for proposal in order to understand if my idea fits within a specific call for proposal. In terms of participation, we can see that within the second pillar, we have a strong participation, a requested participation with collaborative research and innovation efforts. So where the academia is going to collaborate within a research center, within a small and medium enterprise, and within a specific industry or big corporate. But we have also in the other pillars, in pillar 1 and pillar 3, a specific focus with mono-beneficiary schemes. So which is the budget distribution across Horizon Europe? We can see from the graph on the left side that the pillar 2, the one that is going to define within a top-down approach the different clusters, has a 55% of redistribution of the total budget that we have cited before is 95 billion euros. We can see in particular within this pillar, the second pillar, how the redistribution is made on the second graph is made in terms of the different clusters. As you can see, the European Commission priorities in terms of European Green Deal, in particular for the food bioeconomy related cluster, the climate, energy and mobility related cluster, but also within digital industry and space, the European Green Deal and the European digital strategy are specifically supported and have a really high percentage of funding. If we would like to look at the specific figures, we can see that in particular for cluster 4 digital industry and space that is going to be presenting also afterwards, we have a dedicated budget. I'm sorry, the slide is in Italian, I'm so sorry. We have a dedicated budget of 15 billion euros, which is specifically supported for 50% of the overall budget. Sorry, 16% for the overall budget. But you can see that also all the different percentage are also supporting the different European priorities as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. So how the Horizon Europe program has been defined and structured, and how we can look at the Horizon Europe program in terms of understanding the specification of the program itself. So in particular, the European Commission started the process of the definition of Horizon Europe in July 2018. Where it builds up through a proposal that was made by the European Commission, the negotiation within the European Parliament and the European Council. Within specific negotiation phases and also via the partial agreement that was reached within April 2019, we have seen also the definition of the new European Commission, as well as also the definition of the different European priorities that I was citing before. Therefore, we have a phase of, I would say, of stop of the work, where the European Commission itself has started within the November 2020, the second phase of the negotiation within the Parliament and the Council. A specific agreement was actually reached within the European Parliament and the European Council. But we are going to see that the Horizon Europe formal approval is going to be defined via the specific vote that is going to be given by the European Parliament on the 26th of April. So we are talking about actions that are currently actually in draft. Within this specific negotiation that were made at a really high political level within the European Commission, the European Parliament, and the European Council, we have a complementary process with the definition of the strategic planning process. In particular, the open consultation that was made within the member states within the Strategic Program Committee shadow. The Strategic Program Committee shadow has defined the strategic plan, which has been actually written, and the orientation has been published in 2019. In particular, we have seen now that the work program, the different work program preparation has been defined within the collaboration of the different member states, in particular starting from November 2020. So we have seen that they have started to drafting the research and innovation actions that are going to be launched only in November 2020. We will actually see the different work programs that are going to be adopted by the late 2 weeks of April and the first 2 weeks of May. So we are going to see that we are going to have the different work programs probably by mid-May. What is the strategic plan? The strategic plan is the, I would say, the document that is defining, in particular, the rules for implementation of Horizon Europe, which is preparing the content of the different work programs and the different call for proposal for the first 4 years by giving the orientation of the research and innovation support, the expected impact within the specific work programs, by supporting in the definition of the different partnership and missions, identifying which are the areas for international cooperation, as well as giving relevance on the different transversal aspects, such like the inclusiveness of social sciences and humanities, which are going to be the specific actions to foster strategic value chains and key enabling technologies, the gender dimension attention within Horizon Europe, as well as the attention on ethics, integrity, dissemination, and exploitation issues. So, in order to recap, we have the consolidated agreement by the European Commission, the European Parliament, and the European Council, in particular by 2020. Therefore, we have seen the Shadow Program Committee that was actually defining the strategic plan, so was trying to look at all the different information that I was citing in my previous slide. Then we have the definition from the Shadow Program Committee of the strategic planning within the different research and innovation priorities and the international cooperation related opportunities. We had also the definition in a joint way of the von der Leyen priorities, as well as the open consultation that the European Commission started to implement in order to understand all the different research and innovation actions to be underlined within the strategic planning. We have in parallel the revision of the process for the partnership, for the European related partnerships. and the definition of the partnerships that are co-programmed and co-funded. We are now in the definition of the institutionalized partnership that probably are going to be launched in the next phase, probably in late 2021. We had also the definition of the 5 different missions and the constitution of the 5 mission boards in order to understand which are going to be the different set of actions dedicated for the objective-driven mission. Afterwards, now what is actually in the finalization at the moment, we have the different consultation within the thematic shadow program committee. So a program committee defined for the cluster 4, for example, digital industry and space, a program committee defined for the cluster health, for example, where they had actually to agree on the different research and innovation priorities that were drafted by the European Commission itself. And we are going actually to have afterwards the definition of the Horizon Europe work program that I was saying by late April, mid-May, and the launch of the different call for proposal. So by checking the strategic plan and all the different phases for the definition of the strategic plan and the research and innovation priority, we could see how the Horizon Europe legislative package was at the very beginning of the definition of the strategic plan for 2021-2024. What the strategic plan is the basis for the definition of the different work programs, which are going probably made for biannual phases, so work program for 2021-2022, it depends on the schemes, and how the work program is going to be actually the major package for identifying the different call for proposal. We have said that Horizon Europe is an impact-driven program, an impact-driven in terms of fostering the European Commission priorities. Here we can see, for example, an example concerning the European Green Deal. Is an impact-driven program in terms of supporting the Sustainable Development Goals defined by the United Nations, but also fostering the implementation of actions that are mainly dedicated to identified which are the breakthrough technologies, breakthrough and disruptive innovation, and fostering the entrepreneurship across Europe. So the strategic orientation, in particular within the strategic plan, has been defined in order to identify the different impacts that Horizon Europe has to define through its different research and innovation action. The strategic plan identified 4 different key strategic orientation. Each of the strategic orientation identifies specific impact areas and a number of expected impact that a single project should be looked at in order to explain how the project is going to support the achievement of these specific impacts. In order to actually define the different impact-driven approach that the Horizon Europe, through the different open calls, is going to reach. So actually, we had identified, I don't know if you can see my arrow scrolling, we have identified in particular the definition of the different strategic plan based on the EU political priorities, the definition of the key strategic orientation, the 4 key strategic orientation that I'm going to cite in a while, and the different expected impact that are connected to the key strategic orientation. So actually, in order to better understand which is the impact-driven approach that the European Commission is actually asking to us, we can see that the definition of the different Horizon Europe program has been defined in a specific way where the strategic plan is balancing the definition of is identifying the definition of the key strategic orientation for research and innovation, which are actually strategic policy objectives, which define the direction for the research and innovation investments. Those key strategic orientation are going to support the expected impact related to a specific KSO, key strategic orientation. The expected impact is actually connected within specific destination across the work program. And at the level of a project proposal, we are going to have, therefore, the definition of the expected outcome that that specific project is going to identify, the expected output, the relevant deliverables that are going to be generated by a project during its implementation, and of course, how the expected outputs and expected outcomes are related to the expected impacts and the different destination built up by the European Commission. So actually, we can see that within the strategic plan, the strategic plan has defined the European policy priority for Horizon Europe, the key strategic orientation, and the expected impact and related destinations. So which are those key strategic orientation? I'm going to look at, to go a bit, to speed up a bit. Which are the key strategic orientation? We have said that the key strategic orientation are 4. In particular, those are related to promote an open strategic autonomy by leading the development of key digital enabling and emerging technologies, sectors, and value chains. The second key strategic orientation is to restore Europe ecosystems and biodiversity and managing the sustainable natural resources in order to ensure food security and ensure also a clean and healthy environment. The key strategic orientation C is related to making Europe the first digitally enabled, circular, climate neutral, and sustainable economy through the transformation of its mobility, energy, construction, and production systems. We have also, in terms of the key strategic orientation D, the support on creating a more resilient, inclusive, and democratic European society in order to be prepared and responsive on threats and disasters, but also addressing the inequalities and providing high-quality healthcare. So we can see actually how the different work programs are going to be connected with those key strategic orientation. Actually, we have said that the key strategic orientation has connecting also within the 15 expected impact. So with this table, I'm not going to go in depth on all the different impact areas that are going to be fostered via the definition of the different key strategic orientation. But here you can see that within the specific KSO promoting an open strategic autonomy, by leading the development of key digital enabling and emerging technologies. We have actually as impact areas the idea of the European Commission to promote a competitive and secure data economy, to sustain the industrial leadership in key and emerging technologies, to secure and cybersecure the digital technologies and advanced and promote the deployment of high-quality digital services for all. We have actually, in this specific slide, and I'm going to go also to the second slide in order for you to check also the different impact areas, we have defined the definition of the different impact areas, the different 15 expected impact and impact areas, and also the definition of the different clusters that are connected to those. So we can see furthermore that the idea is to enhance the ecosystem and biodiversity, to support the clean and healthy air, water, and soil, and to support the sustainable food systems. Within the third key strategic orientation, we can see that the impact areas are related to climate change, mitigation, and adaptation, to support an affordable and clean energy, to support a smart, sustainable transport and circular and clean economy. And finally, the impact areas are related to a resilient European Union prepared for emerging threats, secure, open, and democratic European society, good health and equality accessible healthcare, and sustain inclusive growth and new job opportunities. Those are actually connected with the different clusters. Of course, all those different information have been also, those different expected impact and key strategic orientation are also connected to 8 horizontal topics. We have cited them concerning the gender, equality, and inclusiveness, the ethics and integrity, dissemination and exploitation, open science practices, social innovation, social sciences and humanities, key enabling technologies, and EU taxonomy. So we have set, in a way, the overall strategy of the for the definition of Horizon Europe. We have defined now that Horizon Europe is actually supported via the definition of its specific strategic plan for the first 4 years of implementation, which sets out the different 4 key strategic orientation in order to support research and innovation. Of course, the Horizon Europe strategic plan is mainly devoted to define which are going to be, I would say, the basis for each different work program defined by Horizon Europe. Nevertheless, beside the adoption of the Horizon Europe strategic plan that was made on the 15th of March this year, actually, we have also seen the launch of the separate work programs, in particular related to the European Research Council and the European Innovation Council, which has been adopted in February and March this year. I think that I have 2 slides left, actually, to identify which are the information that we are going to look at in a specific work program. Within a work program of a specific cluster, for example, in cluster 4, we are going to have the redistribution of the work program in different destinations. Under each destination, we are going to have a really relevant introduction that explains all the relevant policy objectives, but also the key strategic orientation that is really relevant for that specific destination. In this way, the proposal that are going to be submitted in that specific destination and in the specific open calls under the destination should establish a credible path in order to address the specific target impacts that are defined in this strategic plan. We have, therefore, the work program that we have different destinations. Under those destinations, the different calls, and there the different topics. And we can see that the destination is inclusive in terms of the different calls. The calls are going to be launched on an annual basis, are going to have a limited number of topic calls, so of call for proposal launched for that specific program. And the different topics are going to explain us which are going to be the target outcomes for that specific call for proposal, and the scope, which is going to give us a brief description of the action that the European Commission would like us to propose. Okay, yes, I have finalized. I'm sorry, I'm a bit late of 10 minutes, actually, I think. So I don't know if you would like, in particular, I'm trying to, okay. If you like, Odysseus, to look at...
Thank you, Marta. Yes, we can accept a few questions through the Q&A mode of Zoom. So you can, all participants can type their question there. Please feel free to ask whatever you would like to clarify. Of course, we will have a session for Q&A later on, but I can only see one open question, but it is in Turkish.
Yes, exactly.
Kemal, can you help us with that? Or maybe Helen?
I would just, Kemal, you are asking the question translation, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's about public universities. The successful awards of successful will be open for public universities, but I don't think it's related to Marta's presentation. There is no question for Marta, seems.
Okay, okay, yes, I see. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Do we have any indication, Marta, when we will have the first calls published? I mean, I would like to note that the information that we have at the moment is mainly unofficial information. Of course, we have the strategic plan at the moment, which was published, but the work programs were leaked, so they are not the official ones. I don't expect any big changes, of course, but do we have any indication of when we will see the first call for proposals?
Yes, thank you, Odysseus. Actually, we know for sure that the European Parliament is going to vote on the Horizon Europe program on the 26th of April. So therefore, we are probably going to see the different work programs that are going to be adopted and published after that day. So probably in mid-May, I would say, and the first 2 weeks of May in particular. But the European Commission is now looking at the organization of the launch of the different, of course, of Horizon Europe. We have seen an official launch, but without some specific calls. So we are going to look at the European Info Days probably by mid of April. So they are talking about the organization of specific info days at European level, actually always late April, mid-May. in order to get all the different stakeholders knowing about the related launch of the open calls, actually when the work program is going to be published. In those different info days, we are going to have probably also the organization of virtual brokerage events in order to foster the collaboration opportunities among the different communities.
Very good, very good. Okay, I suggest we take a very short break for people to get some coffee or whatever, and we will be back in 4 minutes. So yeah, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So just a little bit after 3:30. You can leave it on, just a very short 5-minute break to catch up. Thank you. Okay, I believe that we can start again. I hope all of you are back. Before we start with my session, with my presentation, I would like to ask one more question before we go on. Kemal, can you please share your screen with the question? Marta already explained to you how we evolved, how the Commission evolved from the priorities of European Commission into the call for proposals. During this process, a number of events took place, and the Commission invited participants and stakeholders to attend some events, to respond to some questionnaires. Did you contribute to this strategic plan development by either any online consultation? Maybe you completed an online questionnaire, maybe you participated in one of the events. One of the biggest events was the Research and Innovation Days. There were two such events. One was a live event in Brussels in 2019 and an online one in 2020. And there is a coming one this June, again, a virtual event, Research and Innovation Days. I think you should participate in this event. It will give you a very good idea of how this co-design process takes place in the European Commission and how you could contribute to the next Horizon Europe goals. Thank you for responding. I can see one question. Will there be a difference in the topic in terms of requirements for Horizon Europe? Where the EU Commission would like to integrate information obtaining from previous supported projects and change, improve. I'm not sure I understand the full, well, I need to study this question a little bit more, but I think you will get some answers in the next presentation. Marta, would you like to say anything here?
Yes, I'm reading the question. Beside this, I wanted to mention one thing that was related to what you were mentioning to the Research and Innovation Days. The Research and Innovation Days are going to be hosted also this year by the 23rd and 24th of June. So it could be also relevant for whom doesn't know so much about Horizon Europe program and about all the different opportunities and the different consultation across Europe to follow the Research and Innovation Days in June. So concerning the question, there are a lot of projects related to digitalization of process industry in H 2020. So will there be a difference in this topic in terms of requirements for Horizon Europe? I'm wondering whether the EU Commission would like to integrate information obtaining from the previous supported projects and change, improve something at the project application phase. Okay, we have to separate the things. Actually, I'm going to talk about the different destinations that are also relevant concerning the digitalization of process industries within cluster 4. So there are going to be actually dedicated action for this. Will be there a difference in these different topics concerning Horizon Europe? Of course, there is going to be a difference in terms that we are going to see an evolution of what was previously funded and previously defined by Horizon 2020 goal, and we are going to look at a different set of actions where the European Commission is fostering more and more the digitalization of process industries. Furthermore, concerning the change or improvements of the project application phase, I think that this is going to be part of Odyssea's presentation. So actually, I do not want to reply to this question because you are going to see the presentation of Odyssea's now.
Let's see what you can get out of our presentation. We have a presentation for all these points, and if there are some more specific questions, of course, we can respond later on. Okay. Can you see the right screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me. Okay, here we are. So this presentation is about. Okay. In this presentation, I will try to present to you mainly the work program, the structure of the work program, and the new proposal template. I will go quickly through my profile. I am the key expert of Turkey in Horizon 2020. I have experience and an academic background in engineering, in ICT and financial background, and I'm dealing with EU-funded projects for more than 20 years. You know our Slido channel, so you can respond here. I have a question, a survey for you, but we will take it later on. So what we will cover in this presentation? I will want to give you a more detailed, no, not that detailed, but an overview of the work program and the core documents that you will deal with. We are going to talk about the admissibility, eligibility, what's the difference between them, the financial and operational capacity, the award criteria and the procedure for evaluation. And then I will pass the floor to my colleague, Diamandis Koumbis, and he will talk to you about the proposal template and the model grant agreement. I'm sure that by now you understand the importance of learning the EU policy priorities and really understanding them before you start working in a proposal. So Marta already gave us a very detailed presentation on the strategic plan and how this is evolved into the work program. So I will not stay here. We have 4 strategic orientations. Marta presented them. And within these strategic orientations, we have 32 impacts and 6 clusters organized under 3 pillars. This is basically the structure of Horizon Europe into clusters. And no, this is it. So how is the work program structured? So you know that it is out there, you download it, and what do you find in it? At the moment, we only have the work program that is leaked, so it is not the official one, as I already mentioned. However, it is almost the final one. Not many things are expected to change. The work program consists of a number of documents. So it covers a 2-year period, 21-22, and a new work program, of course, will be published in 2023, again covering 2-year period. in a work program, in every work program, we have a general introduction, which is basically a summary of what you can find in the strategic plan, maybe in a more targeted way. So the general introduction of the work program focuses more on the objectives, the key strategic objectives and actions of this specific work program rather than those of the strategic plan. And then we have annexes, certain annexes for every program, every scheme that we have under the Horizon Europe. So we have a document describing the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. We have a document for research infrastructures. We have separate documents for each of the clusters, the European innovation ecosystems, the widening participations, the missions, and so forth. At the moment, we only have published documents, or rather leaked, for the highlighted sections of Horizon Europe. So we don't have a European Innovation Council work program. There is a work program for the European Innovation Council, but it is a different work program. It is not included in this one. So when you start working and decided that you want to participate in a call, or you are looking for opportunities, then you need to start collecting the documents, building up the library that you are going to need. And of course, you start with the strategic plan, the work program, the proposal template, and the model grant agreement, which is the legal template that will be used. What can you find in the general annexes? I already described what you can find in each of the documents. One of the most important documents, it is the general annex of the work program, the general annexes, and there you can see all the general conditions for participations. So you can see the admissibility, eligibility, financial and operational capacity, and exclusion rules. You can see the exact award criteria, the mandatory documents that are necessary, the evaluation procedure, legal and financial setup, how we are going to move from a successful result to the signature of the grant agreement, and any specific provisions. So before you start working on any particular call, have a good look on the general annex of the work program. Now, admissibility is something easy, what you need to submit. And of course, you need to submit it before deadline. That's basic. You need to use the form and to do it through the online system. I'm sure that these are all known to all of you. Anyone who has ever participated in any funded project has to go through the same procedure. What is important, and it is stressed here, is that you need to include a plan for the exploitation and dissemination of the results. This is something that came from Horizon 2020. It is now even more important because exploitation and dissemination is one of the horizontal topics. If you remember, Marta presented them. So it is something very important, and you need to pay attention to that. We have new page limits. So in innovation actions and in research and innovation actions, which are the majority of the collaborative calls that you are going to work on, there is a limit of only 45 pages. Anything beyond that is redacted, so the reviewers won't be able to see it. Make sure that you upload your document and that the document is 45 pages long. In supporting actions, it's this limit falls to 30. We have 70 pages for co-fund actions, and in cases where there is a two-stage proposal, the first stage, again, is limited to 10 pages. Who can participate? This is the eligibility criteria. Basically, any legal entity. There are, of course, some restrictions, and you need to have a PIC number, the participant identification code. It's a relatively simple procedure. You can do that through the participant portal, and it's very easy to get. Once you get the successful result of the process of the proposal, then you have to be validated from the Commission. So they need to go through a number of documents like your mandates, your statutes, company, the organization documents that you actually exist, that you are a valid entity and you are registered into the with the national authorities. But this only takes place after you are successful with a proposal. In eligibility, we have a number of affiliated entities, so entities that that have similar rights with the beneficiaries, but do not sign the grant agreement, so they cannot become beneficiaries. We have associated partners. These partners can participate without signing the grant agreement, but they cannot charge costs. We have entities without legal personalities, EU bodies, and some restrictions. I do not want to go in detail. These are all very well explained in the document. Of course, same restrictions on eligibility apply. We need at least partners that are established in EU member states or overseas countries and territories linked to member states, or countries associated to Horizon Europe, like Turkey, for example, or low and middle income countries. At the moment, we assume that all countries that were associated with Horizon 2020 will also be associated for Horizon Europe, although there needs to be a certain legal procedure, and we're not through yet. How many partners? You need at least one legal entity established in a member state, and then you need two other independent legal entities. These three need to be completely independent one another and from different member states or associated countries. Keep in mind that these are the absolute minimum. So when you submit a proposal, most of the cases you will see consortia of 8, 9, 10, even 15 partners, depending on the call, depending on the proposal, depending on the theme. The eligibility criteria is the absolute minimum. You cannot submit a proposal with less, but chances are that you will need to build a larger consortium. Eligibility activities, more or less, we have the same activities that were eligible for Horizon Europe. We have, again, an exclusive focus in civil applications. Certain number of activities like human cloning and modification of genetic heritage are not allowed. And of course, every activity needs to be in compliance and in line with EU policies like environmental policy, social security, industrial policy. This is why you need a good understanding of the policies and the priorities of European Commission. Now, in types of actions, in Horizon 2020, we had less actions. Now we have a few more. Research and innovation actions are the activities where we need to establish new knowledge So in research innovation actions, we have a lower TRL level. Then we have innovation actions, where we produce plans and arrangements to design new products, process or services, so we have a higher TRL level. We again have coordination and support actions, and these actions contribute to the objectives of Horizon Europe. We have co-fund actions. These are actions that, programs that are implemented by legal entities managing or funding programs other than union funding bodies. And I believe Marta also touched that. We have the innovation and market deployment actions. These are actions implemented by the European Innovation Council. They target SMEs. We have the training and mobility actions, like the Marie Curie actions, Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, again with activities that aim to improve the skills and knowledge and support individual researchers. And we have two actions focusing on procurement, one for pre-commercial procurement. So this is the activities that where you don't, you need to work with the research community in order to develop a product, and then the bodies can buy this product and use it. And of course, we have a new action for public procurement of innovative solutions, PPI. The vast majority of the collaborative projects, as I have already mentioned, will be research innovation actions and innovation actions. So we will focus on there. A reminder of the technology readiness level. This way of identifying the maturity of a system started in Horizon 2020 is also used here. So again, whenever you build a product, whenever you write a proposal, you need to identify where you stand and where you will be at the end of your project. And as in Horizon 2020, projects must comply with ethical principles, including the highest standard of research integrity, and of course follow all applicable EU international law. Ethics and integrity are one of is also one of the 8 horizontal areas under Horizon Europe. It is also very important, and you need to make sure that you address it properly. In many cases, well, all applicants will have to complete the ethics self-assessment as part of their application. And with any proposal that may have some ethic implications, then you have to declare them, you have to assess them, and you have to make sure that you address this issue properly throughout the proposal. Not only by complying to the principles and legislations, but also by contributing to this. Gender equality and inclusiveness is also an area of a horizontal topic, and it is very important in Horizon Europe. In fact, in order to be eligible, legal entities from member states and associated countries that are public bodies or research organizations or higher education institutions, universities, must have a gender equality plan. So this is a must. You need, as an organization, to prepare a gender equality plan. This will not be applicable from 2021. This will start 2022. But still, your organization will need to start working on that. Finally, we have a description in this annex about the financial and operational capacity. So financial capacity is basically your ability to financially support the project. Remember that most of the actions are co-funding actions. So you have also to contribute to the budget. And you need to make sure that the applicants have the sufficient financial resources. And this is, if needed, it is checked before the signature of the grant agreement. It usually happens only for coordinators and for those that have beyond 500,000 euros to administer. But we have seen it in other proposals as well. So it depends on the proposal and the program. On top of financial capacity, you have to ensure operational capacity, and this is your ability to implement the program. So the know-how, the resources, and for that you have to submit your general profile of the institution, the qualifications, your experiences, the staff. You need to fill in the consortium participants, present a solid team that can work together, and of course show some experience from past projects for the last 4 years. In the proposal section, you will see that there is a change in terms of how we present research profiles. Yamandis will talk about that. So what the proposal consists of? We have 2 parts. We have the general information part, the participants and contacts, the budget, the ethics issues, and any call-specific questions in part A. So this is the administrative part. And then we have part B. And the core part of the proposal is, of course, section 1 to 3, where we have the excellence, the impact, and the implementation. These 3 sections have changed significantly. So you will see the changes in the proposal template. And so we have a lot of changes in how these are presented. And the proposal template now includes a lot more guidance for you to help you respond with the right answers. In the same document, in the general annexes, you will find something which is very important for your call, for your proposal, for your type of action, the award criteria. And these are the award criteria for research and innovation actions and innovation actions. And again, we have the same 3 sections, 3 criteria that are evaluated. And you need to respond to these questions. You need to make sure that the objectives are clearly identified, that the proposed work is ambitious enough, that you go beyond the state of the art, that your proposal itself, it can be, it's plausible, it can be implemented, and the impact is credible. You can reach it. Your outcomes and your impacts are in line with the work program and the priorities of the Commission. You can scale up and you can contribute significantly. And of course, the measures that you propose to maximize your impact are suitable. Finally, in the implementation criteria, your ability to evaluate the project is, to implement the project is evaluated. So is the work plan that you suggest, is it effective? Have you identified the risks? Have you assigned the effort appropriately among the partners that participate in the consortium? Can you prove that the consortium is solid and that all participants have a role and they have the capacity and they can work together, and the consortium as a whole? These are the questions that you need to answer. Of course, there are more details in the document. Now, the evaluation process will take some time. The Commission receives the proposals, then it allocates the proposals to evaluators. Then we have individual evaluation, usually done remotely. Then we have a consensus report where evaluators meet and discuss and decide how they are going to rank the proposals, if there are any disagreements or if there are any proposals with the same grade. Finally, we have a panel report and an evaluation summary report sent to all successful proposals. And of course, unsuccessful proposals, unsuccessful consortia are also informed. This is finalized and we have the final rank list. And at that point, we can move on with the proposal preparation, with the preparation for the grant agreement signature. The evaluation timeline can take up to 8 months. So from the call deadline to the information to the beneficiaries with the summary report, the evaluation summary report, an invitation to prepare for a grant, that can take up to 5 months. So we have evaluation, we have some preparatory work, we have validation of participants. So this can take up to 5 months. And then you have another 3 months where you know that you have won the project and you need to prepare for signing a grant. During that time, you can make any changes requested by the Commission to your proposal. You can clarify some things, elaborate others, and finally, you are invited to sign the grant agreement, and then you move to pre-financing of your project. I don't want to go into further detail. That's all from me. I will pass the floor to Diamandis now, because I think he has a very interesting presentation where you will understand the proposal template and how this proposal template is different from Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020, and how you can best respond to these changes.
Thanks, Odysseas, and nice to meet you all, though I cannot see you. I was about to ask Odysseas how much time I would have, and I think because my next meeting would be in 25 minutes, that I will have only 25 minutes, which means that I will try to stick to the plan and not, and I am also aware that we are also lagging behind the time. Odysseas, may you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, of course. Let me. Okay.
Okay. And here we are. So it's about the proposal template, the impact canvas, and some other practical aspects of consortium agreement and model grant agreement. First of all, about the templates, they are important. So they are not only a technicality. And there is what we usually call form follows function. And there are also some trade-offs in the templates. They can be looking too much scientific, or too much like an industry proposal, or too much like a sales pitch. And now what it is actually the case is that what we have as a template is a compromise between amongst all these three. So they cover some aspects that are more scientific, others that have to show industry relevance, and also some others that have to do with a good promotion of your project and proposal ideas. So, and we have to accommodate all above aspects, even partially. And with a bad template, several hundreds of people will suffer, which means that all the people who will use the template, if this is not well designed, they will not enjoy much the experience. And with a good template, it will help all of us write better proposals. And the most important thing is that as time will go by, through the years, we can become better and better in using this template so that we will have some better learning curves in the proposals we will be writing. Now, the deficiencies of the old templates for people who have been familiar with Horizon 2020, as you may remember, there was the section called Objectives, which was 1.1, and there we had to name all our objectives, but there was also a section 1.3a, which was about the concept, but it's difficult to start talking about objectives without having prepared the audience, the readers, the evaluators about the concept. So at some point we needed to include parts of the concept before the objectives, and then in section 1.3a we had to present the objectives, and then we had to present the methodology in section 1.3b, and then also our ambition, which means that for each of the objectives we had to present how each of our objectives would help contribute to advance the state of the art, which means that the old template was not very functional or ergonomically designed. And about the comparison of the old template and the new, the old required 70 pages for the main proposal, and the new is only 45 pages. So it may seem like a good thing, a good development, which is definitely is, but sometimes to try have less space, it's not as easy. So it's the opposite. So you can write something faster if it is 10 pages, but if someone asks you to provide the same information, but only 2 pages, it might be much more difficult. And the old section 1, it had 4 subsections. Now it only includes 2 subsections, but as I mentioned before, it is actually transformation. Several of the old sections are now integrated together. The impact section, it had in the past 2 sections, and now it has same 2 sections plus 1 new section, which is the impact canvas, which I will elaborate about the impact canvas later. And section 3, it had 4 sections, and as we remember, some of the information there, especially about project management, decision making, was simply a copy paste. So this part is not anymore there. And now the new section 3 is only consists only of 2 sections. Now, about the impact canvas, it is perhaps the most new, innovative, game-changing, if you would like to name it so, part in the new template. And some prehistory, we may all now be familiar with the business model canvas of Alexander Osterwalder, and the idea of providing information in such a structured form is more and more becoming more and more popular. So the Horizon Results Booster, as you may know, already uses 2 other canvas templates. It's about the lean canvas and the value proposition canvas. So this idea of a canvas is something that will stay with us for considerable time. Now, about the Horizon Europe Impact Canvas especially, it is meant to be a summary. And it consists of 6 parts. So it's about the needs, the results, the dissemination, accreditation, communication measures, the target groups, the outcomes, and the impacts. So it's not only about the impact, it is a summary of the entire project, because we have to name also who are our target audience, which are the specific results we aim to achieve, and also which are the outcomes of the project. Now, some final remarks for the impact canvas. It's not as easy as it seems and needs hands-on practice. And okay, we are all aware about the practice makes the master motto. And for me, it is ideal if this will be composed with interaction amongst all partners in a consortium, and it needs time. So it's not wise to leave filling out the canvas for the last moment. Actually, for me, I would heavily recommend that you should start writing your proposals from this section and then build and elaborate on the other parts. And actually, as I mentioned before, all these 6 components of the canvas reflect different aspects of the proposal. So I cannot imagine that someone may start writing the business objectives or the scientific objectives without knowing exactly what will be the results of a project. So for me, what I mentioned there, that it's ideal to start your proposal writing from the canvas, I do believe it firmly that it is a good advice. Now, other points of the new template is that the new section 1.1 combines and integrates from the old template, section 1.1 that was the objectives, section 1.2 that was the relation to the work program, section 1.3a that was the concept and ambition, and all these in 4 pages. And as we remember, these parts took several pages in Horizon 2020. So it was not uncommon that all these section 1.1, 1.2, 1.3a, and 1.4 may have taken about 20 or even more pages. So now we have to provide this information only in 4 pages. Of course, this is a suggestion. So consortia may come up with 6 pages or with 8 pages, but not with 25 or 20. And about the new section 1.2 in methodology, this corresponds to the old section 1.3b methodology, and also includes some references to national, international research and innovation activities, which were in the past under the concept subsection. Now, this part, 1.2 methodology, it is recommended, suggested to have a length of about 15 pages. Now, if you remember from Horizon 2020, in many cases, this was a very weak section. So people there in methodology, they were coming up same again as with the decision-making processes in section 3.2 of the old template. So here they were coming with general information about agile methodologies, waterfall spiral models, Scrum. So it was not really tailored to reflect the specific proposal. So now this changes, and this section 1.2 is upgraded. So its significance for the proposals is much bigger than it was in the past. And both new sections 1.1, that is 4 pages, and 1.2, that is 15 pages, shall need to seriously think on how we are going to build our narratives. So the term narrative is something that is officially also used there, and it is mentioned. So as you see there, this section should be presented as a narrative. So the idea of having good continuity in the storytelling of the proposals is now something that is officially recommended and is used as a term there. And especially for section 1.2, it is meant also as a preamble to section 3.1. So we have to present exactly which is our methodology that will then later lead into the work plan and the resources in section 3.1. So some final remarks for the new templates. The new proposal template has to be lived in by the people. So don't delay starting to use this, even for making some exercise. So take some proposal you submitted in the past and try to see there how you would bring it to fit into the new template. Also, in cases, for instance, that you may have already planning to resubmit some proposal of Horizon 2020, don't think that it is only a very operational level difficulties to fit the old proposal in the new template. Several parts will not be needed at all, and some other parts will need to be rewritten from scratch, from a zero basis. There is, of course, this 10,000 hours rule, so you may not need to spend 10,000 hours practicing the new templates, but at least some thousands, few thousands will be needed. And less pages does not necessarily mean less effort, as I mentioned before. The impact canvas is tricky. It looks very simple, but has to be filled out with good quality information. So it's not a good idea to fill it out with nonsense making or generalities there, or things that will not be convincing at all. So it's an inherent difficulty of the canvas that it looks so easy and so user-friendly to fill it out, but it can be very tricky. And of course, as I said before, the impact canvas can be the starting point for a proposal. So about MGA and CA, Model Grant Agreement and Consortium Agreement. For the Model Grant Agreement, I would say that we only need to simply follow the rules. So there is very little that we can do, or pretty nothing. It's almost impossible to change clauses there. On the other hand, what we can do is to read it, study it, because it is not uncommon that many organizations read the Model Grant Agreement only in case there are some serious problems that appeared in the consortium. And then they see there that they were lacking some essential information that they should have needed to know and be aware about before. About the consortium agreement, here we can define the rules and the conditions, and there are many, incredibly many degrees of freedom there, so that a consortium agreement will be tailor-made to reflect the needs of a specific consortium and for a specific project. Now, people involved and confronting interests. There are two worlds apart. On the one side, especially for Model Grant Agreement and Consortium Agreement, we have from the one side the legal officers, the administration experts. Usually in a university, they might come from the research administration or the research office, or how they are called. And these are the one side. And on the other side, we have the scientists, the researchers who will actually work in the project, and they have found each other, they have built a consortium, and they have decided what they will undertake in the project. Now, both these worlds worry for different aspects. So the legal, the administration experts care to avoid problems and organize work in assembly lines. This means that they might not necessarily care about the peculiarities or the special conditions of every project or every consortium. While on the other side, the researchers, the scientists, they mainly care to have their project starting as soon as possible, financing to arrive so that they will hire people and have them starting working in the project. So there is a good space for these two different worlds to grow blind spots between them. Now, some good practices to follow. And first of all, we have to name the background knowledge that each partner brings with them in a project. This is something that we can state, express very clearly in a consortium agreement. Also, we have to state clearly which are the foregrounds that we will build collaboratively or jointly during the project lifetime, and who will build these foregrounds. How these foregrounds will be shared after the project terminates. Again, this should be stated clearly. And of course, how shall use of the individual background IPs will evolve and affect the exploitation of the project results. Again, this can be stated clearly. Now, from our experience, and if I had time, I could report on several different projects, innovation or research, background in the intellectual properties are sometimes mentioned, but usually are not very relevant. So people use this as an opportunity to impress themselves or the other partners by even stating their background IPs that may not be very relevant for the project, but they give them the feeling that somehow they ground their previous expertise in the area. Foregrounds are normally related to deliverables. However, for deliverables, there are a little blurry or foggy the ownerships. We have for sure one leader who is responsible for the production of the deliverable, but leading a deliverable does not mean that you are the owner. So there is some good space for possible potential future problems. Regarding the use of foregrounds after the project terminates, there are lots of open issues, and these usually appear during the project lifetime and remain untackled and untouched. And also same regarding the use of individual background IPs. So it may be, for instance, that me and Odysseus, we bring our own individual background IPs for a new project. We will be happy to use each other's background IPs, but when the project will terminate and each of us will take their own road, it would not be as easy that I will use background IPs of Odysseus, or Odysseus will be using background IPs of me. So this again is something that has to be settled before the project will terminate. Now, in short, usually as humans in real life, we plan for the marriage, but not for the divorce. Some final remarks and takeaway messages regarding the consortium agreement. The new proposal template and the impact canvas may provide the means for better identifying the various assets, so that we have a much clearer identification of the background and the foreground IPs, and also about the path to take after the project completion. So now with the impact canvas, it is something that can be better developed or planned to take place. So we can use this opportunity. Responsibilities and ownership can be from an early on stage decided and defined. And one can still keep their optimism and their rose-colored glasses while also leaving little space for future misunderstandings. And an inherent difficulty is that proposals are written under the state of enthusiasm. So we are usually over-promising and under-deliver, while it might be worth to try the opposite, which means that to under-promise and try to over-deliver. So I think that I managed in less than the planned time, so we may still have 5 minutes for any questions you may have, and I would appreciate, and I will still continue sharing my screen so that you can see here my email. So I will welcome any questions you may have. So feel comfortable to send me a message anytime. And I think that it might be more when you start using the new template that you will have questions. So from my side, I thank you, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Diamandis. I would like to, as we accept questions, I would like Kemal to share another survey we have prepared. And please, as you respond to this survey, feel free to ask any questions that you may have regarding the proposal template, regarding the work program, regarding the changes. Now, in the first, this is a survey of 3 questions, so you need to respond to all 3 of them. How different does Horizon Europe look to you from Horizon 2020? It's the first one. Very good.
I think that we should not bias people with our own opinion, but if you allow me, Odysseus and Alexander, I may say that sometimes to declare that we don't know yet, it's a good answer. So same like in research, that what matters are the questions and not necessarily the answers, because the answers may be proven false after some time. But personally, I think that experience will show us what exactly.
These templates, I mean, nobody has tested them. And only once you manage to work with these templates and test them, you will finally understand if these templates are better or worse, or if they can help you in any way. Okay, we have a few more surveys for you. Okay, thank you for participating in that one. Kemal, can we go to the second survey, the proposal template survey, to see how people feel about the impact canvas? Yes, that one. So impact canvas, it's a new tool. We did not use anything like it in Horizon 2020. We used the business model canvas in proposals for EIC, for SME instrument, but this tool is quite new, and of course you will need to familiarize yourself with it and understand what it means. But I think it gives a good overview of what your plans are. Okay. Yes, the link to obtain the proposal templates. There is a question regarding the proposal templates. As we said, we don't have the official templates at the moment. So we have the leaked templates. Of course, we are going to share the link in our presentations. You will be able to find it, and you can download everything from there. Actually, I think in the agenda, there were also some links, and one of them was for the proposal template. The next question, how it says to link the expected, okay, Diamandis, maybe this is for you. How would you suggest to link the expected impacts, 36 total, I guess, maybe 5 or 6 per call, with the 9 types of scientific, societal, and economic ones in pathway to impact canvas?
This is actually something that we might need to have a training camp to discuss. Yes. In brief, because I'm cautious also about the time. There is no straight answer there, and I had before made a screenshot. I hope I can share again the screen. So as you see here, my screen, I have made a screenshot before while Marta was presenting, making the presentation. And I had in mind to connect this, but because I didn't have time to do this today, but the idea there is that one might try to, in a very epigrammatic way, ground each of these impacts with respect to their proposal. And so there, for instance, that regarding, so in the canvas and in the impact section, so we call it impact canvas in general, but it has one of these components, the 6 components about the impacts. So there we might, for instance, specifically relate whether we have, we contribute to creation of high quality new knowledge, or only about strengthening human capital in research and innovation, or fostering diffusion. So the idea there is that I'm sure different consortia all over Europe will come up with different ways to build their own know-how about how to use the business model canvas so that they will convey all the necessary information to the evaluators. And on the other hand, I will feel tempted to mention there, you may be aware of Nasreddin Hoxha's story where he went to a dinner wearing his old coat and the people didn't like him. And then he went back home and he came back changing, wearing a very new, very nice coat with fur, and all people appreciated him. So at some point, it is more an effort. So it's not necessarily the quality of the research ideas that will be judged, but only the way that these will be presented, positioned, situated within the context of the work programs and of the strategies, which means that it is in this respect that what I said before, that it's not so easy to start using the canvas and use it successfully and effectively as it seems. So what will matter is to acquire as much practice, and not only individual, a company or an organization, but also together the consortia, so that this narrative that even the program uses this term will be very successful and convincing for the recipients. Okay?
That's absolutely true.
Many
we
thanks.
are running a bit late, just 15 minutes, but I'm sure that we can catch up. I would like to invite Marta to continue with this, her second presentation now.
Yes, thank you, Odysseus, and thank you also to, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you also to Adamantios, because I have actually put also a further resource in my second presentation concerning what Adamantios was saying, because it was quite relevant as presentation and quite clear. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Can you confirm?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect, thank you. So, okay, now we are going to make a focus on the dedicated actions for digital transformation and resilient industry, in particular in Cluster 4 within Horizon Europe. So actually, what we are going to see now is concerning the relevant policies under Cluster 4, the approach that the European Commission has for the definition from Horizon 2020 industrial leadership dedicated actions to Horizon Europe Cluster 4 dedicated to digital industry and space. As Odysseus was saying, I'm not going to focus on space because you have not requested actually. So we are going just to check the information concerning digital and industry related opportunities. We are going to see all the different destinations of Cluster 4 with a specific detail, then checking the relevant European partnership for this cluster and the complementarities with other Horizon Europe clusters. So concerning in particular, you have seen my previous presentation before. We have seen that the European Commission has put a strong emphasis on the twin transition, green and digital. So also we had a strong commitment from the President Ursula von der Leyen to lead within the European ecosystem the transition to an healthy planet and a new digital world. Therefore, we have seen also within the different priorities how the European priorities has been designed in order to define all the different actions also within Horizon Europe. So actually, which are the latest European relevant policies that you should check before identifying your participation in those different proposals under Cluster 4? We can see that the relevant strategies and policies for the digital transformation encompass mainly the European strategy Europe Fit for Digital Age that was published on the 19th of February 2020, in particular in conjunction within the related policies on excellence and trustworthy artificial intelligence, as well as related to the European data strategy. Furthermore, the European Commission has recently launched on the 9th of March the vision for the digital transformation concerning 2030, presenting the different assets that the Digital Compass 2030 is going to be based on concerning skills, infrastructures, dedicated actions for business and government to support their digital transformation. It is therefore really, really relevant to identify whenever you are going to participate in artificial intelligence related call, or within the European data within the related data related actions in cluster 4 to check the relevant European policies that are reflected by the European Commission. Concerning the industrial competitiveness, of course, the specific relevant policies starts from, we cannot cite the European Green Deal in particular, which is setting all the different policy initiatives for overarching the main aim of making Europe climate neutral by 2050. We have seen the launch of the industrial strategy in 2020, in particular in March 2020, for making the European economic ecosystem more resilient and also more competitive at a global scale. In this specific field, we are going to see probably a new publication of the industrial strategy in the upcoming months, since the COVID-19 crisis has put some specific actions concerning also the recovery of the industrial ecosystem itself. But we have also the publication in 2020 concerning the Circular Economy Action Plan, which is defining the way the different set of actions should identify the way we produce and we consume in order to reach the European Green Deal ambitious aims. So if we identify within the digital transformation related policies and the industrial competitiveness related policies, if we would like to check how those policies are reflected in Horizon Europe, we can see that a major detail here is concerned within the second pillar concerning the global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. In particular, right now, we are going to see the cluster 4, digital industry and space, which is actually with all the different clusters, which is directly connected to the relevant partnership landscape and the mission framework that I was presenting before. So we are now focusing more on the cluster 4 concerning global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. But how was built the cluster 4? In particular, in Horizon 2020, we had the pillar industrial leadership, where within leadership in enabling and industrial technologies, we had the specific presence of a work program dedicated to information and communication technologies, a work program dedicated to nanotechnologies, materials, biotechnologies, and manufacturing, but also concerning space. We can see that in Horizon Europe, the 3 different souls of this leadership in enabling and industrial technologies were actually merged in one specific cluster, a major cluster that is called digital industry and space. So within the specific box, I would say that the concerning Horizon 2020, we could see that in Horizon 2020 we had the NMBP related work program, which was for nanotechnologies, materials, biotechnologies, and production. In Horizon Europe, actually, there is going to be an evolution because we can see that there is a direct connection, in particular for the key strategic orientation that I was presenting before, but within the cluster 4, we can see that actually the biotechnology figures that was reflected in the previous work program is now it's now going and shifting to the cluster 6 related to bioeconomy. So we are going to lose the B of the NMBP project program actually. Within these specific policies concerning the digital transformation, we can see that we have in Horizon Europe a specific focus concerning digitizing European industry and its related strategy. We have the launch of several related strategy concerning in particular cybersecurity, concerning in particular different initiative that is being launched, for example, the Next Generation Internet Initiative. But in Horizon Europe, this is going to be aggregated through the different key strategic orientation concerning the strategic autonomy on key digital and enabling technologies, sectors, and value chain. So in cluster 4, digital industry and space, we should at first cite that this cluster is a really merging effort concerning different policies and different strategic objectives that are implemented by 2 different directorate generals within the European Commission. So the actors involved from the European Commission are mainly DG Connect for the specific actions on digital transformation and DG RTD concerning the related industrial competitiveness measures. I have cited already all the different policies that has been, I would say, have been identified as relevant for this specific cluster. So I won't cite more about this. But actually, in this cluster, there is a really, really relevant presence of European partnership. In particular, we can see that we have 3 different institutional partnerships where I would like to remind the industrial association within member states in some specific cases and within the European Commission make a wider effort together to support specific sectors and technological domains. So we have 3 institutional partnerships which are going to launch their own open calls beside Horizon Europe, in particular concerning the high performance computing within Euro HPC, key digital technologies, which is going to be actually an evolution of the previous Excel joint undertaking, and smart networks and services, which is going to be an evolution of the previous contractual public-private partnership concerning the 5G technologies. But we have also 7 co-program partnerships that help the European Commission by different consultation that were made within the research and innovation ecosystem, helping the definition of the current Horizon Europe cluster for dedicated actions. Those different co-program partnerships are mainly made in Europe, which is coming from the factories of the future previous CPPP. We have the process for planet related partnership, the clean steel related partnership. We have the merge of artificial intelligence, data, and robotics in one specific partnership. You probably know that before we had the specific contractual public-private partnerships on data and robotics, in particular within the Industrial Association Robotics EU and Big Data Value. Now, within also the soul of artificial intelligence related community, we have one specific partnership on this. The photonics related co-program partnership, the European partnership on metrology, and a specific partnership on globally competitive space systems. Of course, a major focus here is also dedicated to foster international cooperation. In which kind of measure? In particular, to enhance the exchange of know-how, access to international value chain, but also looking specifically and taking into consideration which are the specific principles concerning the autonomy and technological sovereignty that should be reflected by the European Commission. In particular, we are going to see in the future that some specific open calls are going to be restricted to some specific member states or associated countries in order to allow the European Commission to foster the technological sovereignty and autonomy at international level. But actually, we are going also to look at some specific technologies, some international cooperation topics that are going to be open on clean and circular technologies. So some examples here, we can see that in terms of material safety methodologies or standards, or common standards, and of course interoperability, including in the manufacturing sectors or in digital and artificial intelligence technologies, are going to be specifically support with the openness to international cooperation in a wider view. So the cluster for digital industry and space has defined in the European compromise text several areas of intervention, in particular concerning manufacturing technologies, key digital technologies, advanced materials, of course, emerging enabling technologies, AI and robotics, NGI, but also advanced computing and big data, concerning the competitive space sector, circular industry, low carbon and clean industries, as well as new services coming from the space economy. The expected impact, which are reflected in the strategic plan for this specific work program, are quite similar. We could say in a way that are actually balanced in the 6 related destinations of the work program. So we can see that the expected impact define in particular the global leadership in clean and climate neutral industrial value chain, circular economy, climate neutral digital systems and infrastructures. And here, of course, you can see how the destination climate neutral, circular and digitized production is going to serve the specific expected impact. We have an expected impact in industrial leadership and increased autonomy in key strategic value chains with security on supply in raw materials. And in this particular field, we can see that the destination a digitized, resource efficient and resilient industry is going to solve this expected impact. Of course, we have dedicated expected impact for the data economy. So making a globally attractive, secure and dynamic data agile economy within the destination concerning the world leading data and computing technologies. In particular, we are going to look at the sovereignty in digital technologies and future emerging enabling technologies within a specific destination concerning digital and emerging technologies for competitiveness and fit for the European Green Deal. And you can see actually how much the European policy priorities are also fitting in the specific titles of the destination. Of course, we have a direct destination concerning the space-related economy, and concerning the latest expected impact, we have actually a copy-paste of the expected impact within the title of the destination concerning a human-centered and ethical development of digital and industrial technologies. Here, a direct connection within trustworthy AI-related policy is evident. So what is strengthened within Cluster 4 in Horizon Europe? Cluster 4 aims actually to support the global leadership in clean and climate neutral industrial value chain, increase the autonomy in those strategic value chains, but also support the sovereignty, the technological sovereignty in digital technologies and future emerging enabling technologies. Of course, we have a specific connection within the data economy to make it attractive, secure, and dynamic, to make it a strategic autonomy in global space, and supporting the human-centered and ethical development of the digital and industrial technologies. All this is supported by the definition of 6 different destinations. We are going to look at the first 4 and the 6th one that I have cited before. Actually, this is a representation of what we have presented previously. So we are going to check the first destination, climate neutral, circular, and digitized production just right now. So this destination is mainly focusing on advanced manufacturing, advanced digital technologies for manufacturing, a new way to build and accelerating the disruptive change in the construction sector, supporting the hubs for circularity in order to create to support the principle of circular economy and climate neutrality across industry, enabling circularity of resources in the process industry, in particular including waste, water, and the carbon footprint, within the specific measures concerning the integration of renewables and electrification in process industry. So actually, starting from now, I will start to talk about something that is still in draft. So we can see that now all the actions that I have cited here, I really would like to emphasize are really still in draft, and we are going to see the final actions that are going to be launched by mid-May. So at the moment, this is really giving an overall idea. Concerning the first destination, therefore, we have in terms of advanced digital technologies for manufacturing, the focus on artificial intelligence for sustainable, agile, and agile manufacturing, but also a support to data-driven distributed digital environments in different sectors and communities. Concerning the specific objectives on green, flexible, and advanced manufacturing, we are here focusing on, in particular for 2021, on actions concerning laser-based technologies for green manufacturing, in particular manufacturing technologies for bio-based materials, support dedicated specifically to innovation actions on artificial intelligence enhanced robotic systems for smart manufacturing, and as well zero defect manufacturing towards zero waste. Concerning the third main objective of this destination, we are going to look at the integration of renewables and electrification in process industries. In particular, here, the support is going to be defined for the design and optimization of energy flexible industrial processes, as well as adjustment of the steel process production to prepare for the transition to climate neutrality. Within this specific destination, we are going also to focus on process industries. So here, the objective is to support and enabling circularity of resources. In particular, we are going to check a set of several actions on plastic waste in order to support circular carbon feedstock for industry. We are going to look at actions for the avoidance of carbon direct in steel. We are going to look at specific actions for electricity and hydrogen based metallurgy, the improvement of yield of the iron and steel making, but also reducing environmental footprint by improving circularity in extractive and processing value chains. Within the specific objectives for the hubs for circularity, here we are going to look at several solutions concerning deployment, industrial-urban symbiosis, for the utilization of energy, water, industrial waste, and byproducts at regional scales, but also specific actions to build up the hubs for circularity, in particular within the Circularity European Community of Practice. We are going also to find several actions for accelerating disruptive change in construction, in particular via the support to automated tools for the valorization of construction waste, as well as breakthrough technologies supporting the technological sovereignty in construction. Furthermore, we are going also to look at different digital permits and compliance checks for buildings and infrastructure. The second destination is called digitized, resource efficient and resilient industries. In this specific destination, we are going to focus on novel paradigms for resilient and circular value chains, on raw material in particular, and their successful transition for climate neutral and circular economy, on green and sustainable materials. A specific set of the destination is dedicated to the materials for the benefit for society and the environment. We are going here to talk about smart materials and the materials dedicated to decarbonizing the industry. We are going also here to look at all the different actions for the improvement of the resilience and preparedness of European businesses, in particular dedicated for startups and small medium enterprises. So in this specific destination, we are going to look at the resilient and circular value chain, in particular ensuring circularity of composite materials, or as well supporting digitalization in circular and low emission value chains. For the specific actions dedicated to raw materials in this specific frame, we are going to identify the availability of secondary raw materials, but also supporting the development of climate neutral and circular raw materials, as well as supporting the responsible European sourcing of primary raw materials and building the related innovative value chain. In this particular field, there are going to be supported also specific partnerships between European and the African continent. We are going also to look at sustainable materials, in particular by fostering sustainable by design material communities with coordination and support action, but also research and innovation action concerning polymeric materials and metallic coatings, as well as engineered surfaces. We are going to also to look at specific actions concerning the availability, affordability, sustainability, and security of supply chains for essential chemicals and materials, as well as innovation actions concerning recycled plastics in valuable products. In this particular destination, we are going also to look at advanced materials for hydrogen storage, as well as specific research and innovation action on antimicrobial, antiviral, and antifungal nanocoatings. In particular, here we are going also to look at the development, so in terms of innovation actions of more energy efficient, electrically heated reactors, and support the community for solar fuels and chemicals. Concerning materials and data cross-cutting actions, here we are going to look at the definition of research-driven approaches, so mainly research and innovation action for sustainable industrial commons, as well as the development of biomaterials databases for the health applications. Furthermore, we are going also to look at the constituency of the social innovation factory, as well as the support to the constituents of social and affordable housing district demonstrators. Furthermore, here we are going also to look at innovative approaches to support the Innovate to Transform principle for small and medium enterprises. Concerning the third destination, world-leading data and computing technologies, here we have in particular a support to data sharing, to data analytics capacities, as well as all the related action supporting the transition from cloud to the edge to Internet of Things. So concerning data sharing, here we are going to look at research and innovation action for responsible and compliant data operations, with specific focus on sustainability and privacy by design related data operations. We are going also to look at specific action for data exchange and interoperability, with a specific focus in 2022 on trading and monetizing, as well as specific actions that are more related to data management. Concerning the data analytics capacity, here we have specific actions that are related to the demonstration of extreme scale data mining, aggregation, and analytics technologies, but also research-driven approaches for analysis, prediction, decision support for the exploitation of European data analytics capacity. Concerning the third different, I would say, strand of this destination, we are going to look at the different, the constituency of the edge operating systems and platform, in particular within the reference of smart edge nodes, and a specific support dedicated to cognitive cloud, both in terms of supporting research-driven approaches on cognitive cloud, but also on supporting the constituency of the community around this technological domain. Furthermore, we are going also to find relevant research and innovation actions concerning combined systems based on Internet of Things at the edge. The fourth destination, digital and emerging technologies, is actually reflecting all the different set of information that are coming from the information and communication digitizing European industry related topic calls. So here we are going to focus on photonics, electronics, ultra low power processors, connectivity technologies. We are going to look at only a coordination and support action, AI, data and robotics, as well as the two different flagships, quantum technologies and graphene. In particular here, so for concerning electronics domain, we are going to look at actions for the functional electronics for green and circular economy. We are going to look at ultra low power processor, in particular for making secure processor for the edge computing by a research-driven approach, but supporting also the community building on open source hardware for ultra low power and secure processors. Concerning photonics, we have a set of research-driven actions on integrated photonic circuits, but also supporting actions on optical communication components and advanced multi-sensing systems. Concerning AI, data, and robotics, we have a specific action dedicated to the industrial optimization for combined AI and robotics application. Here in particular, we have also concerning the applications, a specific relevance on those value chain that could have an impact for the European Green Deal. As well as concerning the specific action dedicated to robotics, we have several actions dedicated to robotics connection, in particular by a research-driven approach, but also supporting the physical intelligence to key sectors application with specific reference to healthcare and critical infrastructures. Here, therefore, there is also a direct connection within innovation actions. Concerning the specific destination, we are going also to see a coordination and support action dedicated to the community building around European smart networks. But we are going also to look at the emerging enabling technologies now fitting from the previous Future and Emerging Technologies program within Horizon 2020. So we are going to have a focus on advanced spintronics, but also biointelligent manufacturing, as well as characterization methodologies to assess and predict the health and environmental risk of nanomaterials. We are going also to look at the different flagships, quantum and graphene, in particular for quantum, focusing on the specific pillars of the quantum technology flagship by the support to the development of quantum computers and simulation, a focus on quantum sensing and quantum internet technologies, and testing and first production of those quantum technologies. Also here, we are going to have a specific focus on international cooperation, in particular with Canada. With graphene, we are going to look at specific action defined for safe by design 2D materials production. The focus here is on composites, coatings, and foams, but also on manufacturing and the exploitation of the 2D materials-based devices. So we are going to look at the final destination, the sixth destination, human certain and ethical development for digital and industrial technologies. Here we have a focus on leadership on artificial intelligence based on trustworthy principles, all the actions dedicated to the Internet of Trust, all the actions to support the immersive technologies, in particular by augmented reality and virtual reality, and the interactions among those different technologies with the human, the support to digital learning technologies, and a support on cross-cutting issues. So concerning artificial intelligence, we are going to look at specific approaches dedicated to verify the robustness and this transparency of AI application and algorithms. In particular, in this sense, we are going to look at specific activities dedicated to empower the human to use the artificial intelligence complex algorithms and guarantee the autonomy and the trustworthy intelligence for this use. Concerning the Internet of Trust, we are going to look at specific actions supporting the collective intelligence for sustainability, supporting the constituency of data lakes for the media sectors, in particular with a focus on the user-generated content within the social media. We are going also to look at safer internet application with a follow-up of the previous funded initiative dedicated to next generation internet, which is also going to support specific action on distributed ledger technologies. Here in this specific phase, part of this destination, we are going also to have an international cooperation focus with in NGI with Canada and United States. For the specific actions for digital interactions, we are going to look at applied interactive and immersive technologies with a focus on conversational systems. Here, the European Commission is going also to ask to aggregate the small and medium enterprise through the financial support to third parties. We are going to look at also to digital learning technologies, in particular to support via personalized tools, which are the educational and learning approaches in specific application areas in order to ensure the inclusiveness, but also ensure the reskilling and upskilling of the workforce. Furthermore, here we are going to have specific cross-cutting topics on standardization, as well as the connection within the information and communication technologies and the arts, as well as specific demand-driven applications in a specific value chain, such as automotive, but also critical infrastructure-related value chains. So I'm now going to look at the partnership role in Cluster 4. So as I mentioned before, we have in particular specific actions dedicated to the European Partnership. Of course, I'm sorry, I was looking at the mobile because there was my director that was calling me. So I lose my, my connection with the presentation. So concerning the European Partnership in particular, we are going to look at their specific core role on aggregate the key actors coming from different sectors to implement the research and innovation roadmaps, and also create the critical scales for investment to also demonstrate the innovation across Europe. So which are the specific cooperation opportunities with those partnerships to ensure a personal commitment in order to follow their work, but also to trying to take part in that specific actions and as well as working group in order to be engaged in their Horizon Europe proposal, and maybe be also driven by them in the writing phase of the different proposals. Furthermore, those European partnerships are writing their strategic research and innovation agendas or technology roadmaps. In this case, it's quite relevant to advise you to read their own strategic research and innovation agendas, as well as technology roadmaps, to be completely aligned with the specific actions they would like to promote. So concerning the partnerships, in terms of industrial competitiveness, we can look at the different partnerships that are coming from in green that are relevant for the Cluster 4, Medi-Europe, Process for Planets, and Clean Steel. Here, in particular, we can see that Medi-Europe is basing its evolution on factories of the future. Process for Planet and Clean Steel are coming from the specific partnership Spire. So if you would like to look at the different community that is behind those partnerships, you can also check the website of the previous partnership. But we are going also to look at the different partnerships, in particular the European Partnership on Metrology and the one on globally competitive space systems. In particular, in this specific field, I cited all the different partnership proposals that at the moment are published by the European Commission, as well as I have also cited the specific relevant research and innovation community which is behind them. so that you are able also to contact them, to look at them, and also define for your specific proposal, for example, before we have cited the European process industries, which are the information that the Process for Planet has written in order to be consulted by the European Commission on this specific field. Concerning the partnership related to digital transformation, here we can see the direct evolution. On the right, you can see the Horizon Europe dedicated partnership, and you can see on the left the Horizon 2020 related partnership. So in terms of HPC, we have the HPC joint undertaking, where you can see the Industrial Association, the Research and Innovation Community, the European Commission, as well as member states are putting their common effort and common budget to support these specific actions. For key digital technologies, it's quite the same, as well as for smart networks and services. So here you have a quite balance for key digital technologies. This is going to reflect the actions that previously were defined by Excel. Concerning the 5G PPP, we are now seeing an evolution within smart networks and services. What is important for those three different partnerships is that those are going to launch their own open codes. Concerning AI, data and robotics, and photonics, we have seen the different actions that has been put within the Cluster 4 work program that has been advised by the related partnerships and related research and innovation community. Also here, I have cited all the different partnership proposals, as well as you can see here, the different, in particular for the partnership, smart networks and services, for artificial intelligence, data and robotics. I have cited all the different communities that were behind them, so that you are able also to define also partners of your for your consortia. Finally, I would like to close my presentation concerning complementarities with Horizon Europe clusters. In particular, the twin digital and green transformation is built up for a specific focus on Cluster 4, digital industry and space, but as you can imagine, the different clusters from Cluster 1 to Cluster 6 have specific complementarities across the different actions. Therefore, which are the main complementarities that we could see within those specific clusters? In particular, we can see that there is going to be a focus on specific value chain in key sectors and in demand-driven applications. So we are going to look at, in particular for Cluster 5, a specific focus on circular value chains. We are going to look at specific actions dedicated to green, sustainable, and smart materials that are going to be used and developed majorly in applicative domains such as health, food, and bioeconomy, but also climate, energy, and mobility. We are going to look at the establishment of the common European data spaces in particular sectors such as health, logistics, automotive, manufacturing, agriculture, and therefore the application is going to be mainly supported through the different clusters, the application of those common European data spaces, as well as in Digital Europe program. We are going to look at trustworthy AI applications that are going to be defined in the different clusters, as well from Cluster 1 to Cluster 2, dedicated to cultural heritage related AI applications. And of course, concerning the space economy, we are going to look at the application and related services coming from the use of space infrastructures. Of course, the different clusters have set different areas of intervention. We do not have now the chance to look at the different in depth to the different areas of intervention, but I would like to cite to you that in the cluster dedicated to health, there is going to be a specific focus on tools, technologies, digital solution for health and care, including the solutions for personalized medicine. In particular, concerning culture, creativity, and inclusive society, we are going to look at a specific support on digital transformation via social and economic transformation area of intervention, but also in the field of democracy and governance, as well, and sorry, I didn't cite it, as well as in cultural heritage. In terms of civil security for society, the cluster 3, I would like to mention that concerning cybersecurity, we are going to have a specific destination that is going to reflect all the different research and innovation actions concerning cybersecurity. Concerning the 5th cluster, climate, energy, and mobility, we are going to have a specific focus on smart mobility, related focus on climate science and solutions, as well as the application on communities and cities, as well as in the energy transition, of course. And finally, concerning food, bioeconomy, and natural resources, we are going to look at the destination concerning environmental observation, circular systems, as well as bioeconomy related actions. So here I have cited some examples of the different actions in this specific case concerning digital in particular. So you can see that we are going to start from medical diagnosis to trusted digital identity to application concerning lower climate impact and money saved, as well as application concerning a cleaner environment, concerning the different relevant action for the European Green Deal. I would like actually to finalize with 3 slides. At first, I would like to cite that Horizon Europe is a part of a program of a complementary approach made by the European Commission, which is also supporting digital transformation, but also the green transformation with a set of different funding schemes. Here you have the focus on Horizon Europe on research and innovation, but I would like in particular for the digital transformation to cite the Digital Europe program, which is going to fostering the deployment of digital solution into the market. I would like to cite the Horizon 2020 ICT National Contact Point Network, in particular IDList, which has, as you can see in particular here, has defined a set of different tools and taking advantage from what Adamantios was presenting. I would like to cite you that in these specific tools, there are also specific tools that's dedicated to impact canvas, to partner search, to the pre-proposal check at European level, as well as defining other different sources within the toolbox for looking at how to write a proposal. And finally, final tips at the very end of my presentation are concerning, in particular, concerning cluster 4. As you have seen, this is a European program, so you should be able to read the different European policies, follow them, and give references of the European policies in your proposal. twin and green digital transition are actually a major priority across Europe. So you should focus on the impact that your proposal has in terms of the individual, so for the specific citizens, for the society, for the economy, for the environment, having also a look at technological, academic, and industrial related impacts. Horizon Europe is an ambition program, so we have now seen how many actions are within the Horizon Europe program. There are several actions which could be relevant for you. Therefore, I would really and strongly advise you to look at all the different actions that are coming from Horizon Europe, because probably you're going to look at different opportunities for yourself. You should be really careful reading your call for proposal in order to understand which are also the hidden references to relevant actions that were previously funded, or relevant policies or relevant initiatives behind that action. And actually, the latest advice is to contact your national contact point in order to look at all the different funding opportunities. Before going to the question and answer, I would like to give also from my side my email address if you want to ask me questions. And thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. We are running a bit late, but I'm sure that our participants will be patient enough. It's, I mean, cluster 4 is a big issue. So many destinations, so many calls. Kemal, can we share our last poll? As we accept questions, please feel free to post your questions. Now, this is our final poll, and we would like to know how many of you are interested in submitting a proposal under a call, and how you plan to do it. Okay, at least one. So we have a question, Marta. From cloud to edge to IoT for European data, TRL 5 is a target or starting point for consortium. Could you respond to that?
I'm sorry, I was actually looking at the different question. So actually, the TRL 5 is going to be this specific in 2021. Is going to be in particular the resulting point. So the starting point, those are mainly research and innovation actions. So if we think that we have mainly research and innovation actions in this field, the final point is going to be TRL 5-6, more or less. I can see that there is a question in Turkish. So
yes, if we could have a translation.
I'm going to answer that question.
Okay, thank you, Hala.
perfect.
Okay, I see that most of participants would like, of course, to submit a proposal under cluster 4. Of course, they would. Otherwise, why participating? Okay, this is the interesting one. It seems that destination 3 is the most popular one, but destination 4 also comes below that. As you continue to complete our poll, please do so, ask any questions. I know that there are a lot of things that we discussed in this webinar, and all participants would need some time to digest them, to familiarize themselves with the new programs, and see the proposal templates and try to work with them. Of course, we are going to organize more events as we move through Horizon Europe, and we will have even more specific events. We will have dedicated events on open science, on proposal writing, on horizontal issues, or the horizontal topic like the gender equality issues. Stay tuned, and you will be invited to these events. We have a last presentation. Please continue to vote. We have a last presentation by Ms. Perrine Unal, and she would like to present their experience of their company, of Technopar, in Horizon 2020, and of course, their plans for Horizon Europe. Yes, Perrine, would you like to start? Share your screen?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, ben sunumumu Türkçe yapacağım, Türkçe devam ediyorum. Ben Perrine Unal, Teknopar adına bugün bu etkinliğe katılıyorum. Sizle bugün Teknopar'ın Avrupa Birliği çerçeve programlarındaki tecrübelerini paylaşacağım ve mevcut yürüyen projelerimizle ilgili bilgi vereceğim. Öncesinde kendim ve firma hakkında bir profil tanıtımı yapmak istiyorum. Endüstri mühendisiyim. ODTÜ Informatik Enstitüsü'nden doktora derecem var. Teknopar'da araştırma geliştirmeden sorumlu yönetici ortak olarak çalışıyorum. Yaklaşık 8 yıldır Avrupa Birliği projelerinde hakemlik yapıyorum. Eureka, Eurostars, Ufuk 2020, ICT, SME Instrument, Cost Actions gibi farklı programlarda değerlendirici olarak çalıştım. 200'ün üzerinde toplamda proje önerisi değerlendirdim. Ayrıca Brüksel'de Avrupa Komisyonu nezdinde Hakem Danışma Kurulu üyeliği yaptım 3 yıl kadar. Innovation in SMEs alanında. Mentörlük tecrübem ve projelerde deneyimim mevcut. Projelerde farklı programlarda ülke koordinatörü, iş paketi lideri ya da teknoloji provider olarak yer aldık. Firmamız 1996 yılında Ankara'da kurulmuş bir firma. 25 yıllık bir firma. Ben hızlı geçeceğim. Programı da açtığımızın farkındayım. Endüstriyel alanda, enerji sektöründe, araçüstü uygulamalarda ve savunma sanayi uygulamalarında yer alıyoruz. Bu uygulamalar için çözümlerimizi mekanik, hidrolik, otomasyon, elektrik, elektronik ve bilişim teknolojilerini uçtan uca entegre bir şekilde çözüm haline getirerek sunuyoruz. Teknopar olarak 27 ülkede 500'ün üzerinde referansımız mevcut, projemiz mevcut. Referanslarımızın bir kısmı burada ekranda gördüğünüz üzere. Web sitemizde detayları var. Özellikle endüstriyel yazılım konusunda uzmanlaşmış bir firmayız. Firmamızın uzun adı da Teknopar Endüstriyel Otomasyon. gömülü yazılımlar, endüstriyel yazılımlar, hareket kontrol teknolojileri, bunlar ana çalışma alanlarımız. Aslında Endüstri 3.0 diyebilirim temel olarak. Endüstri 4.0 teknolojilerinde Endüstri 3.0 üzerine yeni bir katman olarak ekliyoruz. Toplamda 8 alandan bahsedebilirim teknoloji alanından. Bilişim sistemleri, nesnelerin interneti, büyük veri, yapay zeka, bilişsel ikiz, bilgisayarlı görü, robotik, otomasyon ve kontrol sistemleri, tahribatsız muayene ve test sistemleri. Biz teknolojiyi yakalamak için neler yapıyoruz? Bundan bahsetmek istiyorum. Biz özellikle Ar-Ge'ye yatırım yapıyoruz. Kritik alanlarda teknolojik birikime önem veriyoruz. Ar-Ge projelerinde üniversiteler, araştırma kurumları ve uluslararası organizasyonlarla ortaklıklar ve işbirlikleri yapıyoruz. Bu kapsamda bizim BDVA ve EFRA ile ortaklık, nasıl diyeyim, bu her iki platformda da üyeliğimiz mevcut, asil üyeliğimiz mevcut. Vision 2020 yine benzer bir network. Smart Advanced Manufacturing Eureka Cluster ve TWI Innovation Network'lerde yine bu alanda networking amaçlı clusterlar. Bunlara üyeyiz. Aynı zamanda üniversitelerle dediğim gibi yakın işbirliği halinde çalışıyoruz. Projelerimizde mutlaka akademik danışmana yer veriyoruz. Mutlaka paper yayınlamayı hedefliyoruz. Bu amaçla hem etkinliklere katılıyoruz hem de düzenleyici olarak da yer alıyoruz. Burada bizim özellikle buradaki ilk 5 madde BDVA kapsamında yaptığımız yayınlar. BDVA'nin 2016 yılından beri üyesiyiz. Türkiye'den ilk üyesiyiz ve şu anda da tek asil üyesiyiz Türkiye'den. Bu aslında çok önemli bir kurum. Zaten bir daha önceki konuşmacılar aktardı. Şimdi DAIRO'ya dönüştü. Yani AI, yapay zeka odak noktası haline geldi. Burada biz akıllı imalat teknolojileri ve enerji sektörleri alt çalışma gruplarında aktif olarak çalışıyoruz. Görmüş olduğunuz yayınlarda ya bu alt çalışma grupları ile ilgili ya da stratejik planlama ile ilgili yayınlar genelde. Bunun dışında Türkiye'de de Bilgi Teknolojileri Kurumu altında BTK'nın düzenlediği bazı etkinliklerde aktif olarak yer aldık. 5G, Beyaz Kitap gibi, bazı standartizasyon çalışmaları gibi. Bunlarda aktif, örneğin imalat sektörü sektör başkanı olarak yer aldık ve katkıda bulunduk yayınlara. Uluslararası organizasyonlarda yine 4-5 yıldır şöyle bir rol alıyoruz. Hem sponsorluk yapıyoruz hem de program komite üyesi olarak çalışıyoruz. Bu bizim için, projelerimiz için hem proje ortakları bulma, birlikte projeler geliştirme anlamında anlamlı oluyor. Hem de çıkan sonuçlarımızı burada gerek workshoplarla gerekse bireysel yayınlarla sunma, paylaşma imkanı bulmuş oluyoruz. Hem endüstriyle hem de akademik camiayla. Yaptığımız diğer bir uygulama ise Teknopar Akademi. Teknopar Akademi çalışmalarımızı Türkçe içerikle paylaştığımız bir Medium platformu. Bu platform ile hem çalışmalarımızı paylaşmak hem de kendi çalışanlarımızı üretmeye teşvik etmek istiyoruz. Ve güzel bir platform olduğunu, güzel bir başlangıç olduğunu düşünüyorum. Dediğim gibi akademik yayınlar özellikle önemli. Biz projelerimizde, yer aldığımız projelerde mutlaka en az bir akademik yayın yapmayı hedefliyoruz. Şimdi burada gördüğünüz akademik yayınlar projelerimizle ilgili yayınlar daha çok. İlk 3 yayının 3'ü de Ufuk 2020 projemizle ilgili. Ufuk 2020 için 18 aylık bir proje şu anda. Bir kitap bölümü, bir konferans yayını, bir de seminer sunumu gerçekleştirdik. Ayrıca şu anda onayda olan 5 yayınımız daha var. Bunların 4'ü de yine Ufuk 2020 projemizle ilgili. Yani şu anda toplamda 7 yayın olmuş oldu 18 ayda. Planladığımız birkaç yayın daha olacak burada. CEO olan ise farklı Martera projemizle ilgili bir yayınımız. Almış olduğumuz şu anda yürüttüğümüz ve bazıları da tamamlanmış olan Ar-Ge projelerimizden bahsetmek istiyorum. Burada zaman ekseninde görüyorsunuz. Temmuz 2017'den beri burada sizle paylaşmak istediğim 8 tane Ar-Ge projemiz var. 3 tanesi bunların TÜBİTAK fonlarıyla fonlanmış. 5 tanesi ise Avrupa Birliği fonlarıyla fonlanmış durumda. Kognitiv'in projemiz, bahsetmiş olduğum Ufuk 2020 projemiz. Ufuk 2020 projemiz, şundan bahsedebilirim. Gerçekten kalabalık, yüksek nitelikli ve hem yüksek nitelikli panel nasıl diyeyim, üyelerin olduğu hem de yüksek nitelikli işlerin yapıldığı çok güzel bir kolaborasyon platformu sunuyor bizim için. Bu projede fizik modeller ile veri bazlı ya da veri tabanlı, yani data driven olarak söyleyeyim, yapay zeka uygulamaları geliştiriyoruz ve bunları dijital ikizler üzerinde bir platform halinde yanlarında toolbox araç setleriyle birlikte bir platform halinde geliştiriyoruz. Proje konsorsiyumuna Norveç liderlik ediyor, SITEP liderlik ediyor. Toplam 14 ortağımız var. Almanya'dan çok önemli katılım var. Fraunhofer var, DFKI var, Artificial Intelligence Center Almanya'nın. Projede toplam 23 araştırmacı görev yapıyor. Şunu vurgulamak istiyorum, aslında bu güzel bir istatistik olabilir diye düşünüyorum. Bizim bu 23 katılımcı arasında 18 tanesi doktora derecesine sahip, 2 tanesi yüksek lisans derecesine sahip. Ve 23'te 20 gibi bir oran olmuş oluyor bu. Ve bu şu nedenle de özellikle paylaşmak istiyorum. Türkiye'deki algı genelde doktora yapmak yalnızca akademisyen olmak demektir gibi bir algı olduğu için yanlış bir korelasyon olduğunu ben düşünüyorum. Bu güzel bir örnek. Hem endüstride, özel sektörde hem de üniversite dışında araştırma kurumlarında da bu konuda çalışanların akademik kapasiteye de sahip olduğunu vurgulamak istiyorum. Meşruiyet projemiz, ITA projemiz. Bu projede biz Teknopar olarak endüstriyel nesnelerin internet platformu geliştiriyoruz. Projede yine dijital ikiz ve yapay zeka bileşenleri mevcut. Burada Kore, Hollanda, Finlandiya gibi ortaklarımız var. Hızlanıyorum biraz. Factory 4.0 projemiz, TÜBİTAK destekli bir projemiz bizim. Burada operasyonel teknolojiler, bilgi teknolojileri ve yine dijital ikizi birleştiren bir makine öğrenmesi kütüphanesini de içeren interaktif bir dijital ikiz var burada geliştirdiğimiz. Flowcam projemiz CA ile birlikte geliştirdiğimiz bir proje. Yalnızca Fransa ve Türkiye var burada. Fransa'nın en büyük araştırma organizasyonu olan CA burada projenin yöneticisi. Açık deniz rüzgar türbinleri için sağlık durum izleme çalışmalarını burada yapıyoruz. Özellikle de su altı kabloları burada izlenmesi gereken ve su altı robotları kullanılarak görüntü işleme tabanlı durum izlemenin yapıldığı bir projemiz. Devam ediyorum. Konstrümatik bizim ilk projemiz. Bize İspanyol ortaklardan öneri olarak gelmişti 2017 yılında. Çok zor bir proje teknik olarak. Bizi çok uğraştırdı, çok yordu ama bu proje sayesinde diğer projelere girebildik diyebilirim. Çünkü bizim için iyi bir referans oldu. En az bir projede olmanız sizin ikinci, üçüncüyü almanız için gerçekten önemli bir referans teşkil ediyor. TX Vision projemiz ise şunu söyleyebilirim. Burada özellikle makine öğrenmesi ve derin öğrenme kütüphanelerinin geliştirildiği ve radyografik görüntülerin işlendiği bir test platformu. X-ray test sistemleriyle entegre çalışan bir yazılım. Daikondi formatında. TC Vision ise optik olarak hassas kameralarla çok minör hataların tespit edilebildiği farklı bir yine yapay zeka tabanlı kalite kontrol uygulaması. Kalite kontrol, hata bulma diyebilirim, anomali tespiti diyebilirim bunun içinde. Value projemiz İngiliz ortaklarımızla birlikte geliştirdiğimiz bir proje. İngiltere'den TWI ve Brunel Üniversitesi var. TWI çok geniş network olan bir özel sektör demeyeyim, nasıl diyeyim, bir birlik gibi çalışan bir organizasyon İngiltere'den. Brunel'de, burada yine data tarafında güçlü bir ortağımız. Projemiz çok yeni başladı. Şimdi ben sizle bir şunu ifade etmek için, nasıl diyeyim, burada çok önemli olan şey aslında networkler, network yapısı. Bu network yapısını anlamak, görmek, işte oyun kurucular kimler, koordinatörler kimler oluyor, kimler kimlerle işbirliği yapıyor. Bunları anlayabilmek için biz kendimiz Teknopar olarak bir uygulama geliştirdik kendi iç amaçlarımız için. Ben bu uygulamadaki görsellerin sizde de belki bazı şeyleri canlandırmak için faydalı olabileceğini düşünüyorum. Şöyle paylaşayım. Bir dakika söyleyeyim. Evet. Şimdi burada kolaborasyon networklerini görüyorsunuz, ağlarını görüyorsunuz. Örneğin burada TÜBİTAK örnek olarak seçilmiş durumda. TÜBİTAK'ın Horizon Ufuk 2020 kapsamındaki tüm ağı burada yer alıyor. Toplamda kaç tane partnerla çalışmış, ortakla çalışmış, hangi ülkelerle çalışmış? Örneğin işte burada Belçika'da 20, işte Fransa'da 30 vesaire. Bu yapıyı görüyorsunuz. Onların her birinin içindeki kurumları görüyorsunuz. O kurumların içinde de oradan da tekrar projelere gidip projelerden de yine çağrıya ulaşabiliyorsunuz. O çağrı için kazanılan tüm projeleri listeleyebiliyorsunuz. Bu örnekte Orta Doğu Teknik Üniversitesi için bir network yapısını gösteriyor. Yine Orta Doğu Teknik Üniversitesi pek çok proje almış başarılı bir üniversitemiz. Burada da o örnekleri görüyorsunuz. Evet. Eklemek istediğim son iki slaytım. Eklemek istediğim Avrupa Birliği projelerinde hakemlik tecrübelerimden biraz bahsetmek istiyorum. Bu projelere yaklaşım, proje önerilerini oluşturmaya yaklaşım açısından belki biraz fikir verebilir size. Şimdi çok önemli olan burada değerlendirme kriterleri, 3 değerlendirme kriteri var. Zaten ben detayına girmeyeceğim, daha önce anlatıldı hepsi. Şunu söylemek istiyorum, bu excellence kısmında en önemli konu çağrı metnine birebir uymak. Yani çağrı metninde yazan her kelimeyi adreslemeniz gerekiyor. Çünkü oradaki kelimeler çok fazla filtreden geçip çok fazla tartışılıp oraya konan filtreler ve bunların her birinin adreslenip adreslenmediği kontrol ediliyor projenin değerlendirme aşamasında. Bildiğiniz gibi zaten çağrı metni doğrudan stratejik hedeflerden elde edilmiş bir metin ve bu nedenle o metne çok özel önem verilmesi gerekiyor. Impact kısmı biliyorsunuz puan olarak da daha üste çıkabiliyor diğer ikisinden. Bu kapsamda hem scientific, yani hem bilimsel hem teknolojik hem ekonomik, ondan sonra sosyal olarak katkısı ya da etkisi nedir bu projenin? Bunu göstermeniz gerekiyor. Bu da çok önemli. Şöyle çok önemli, yani ne kadar çok insana değiyor, ne kadar çok insanın hayatını iyileştiriyorsunuz, nerelere ulaşabiliyorsunuz? Bunu kanıtlamanız gerekiyor. Implementation kısmında ise projenin iyi planlanması, iyi organize olması, doğru ortakların olması, bu ortakların niteliği, birbirlerini tamamlar olması, bu tür kalemler önem kazanıyor. Eklemek istediğim birkaç daha not var. Şunları söyleyebilirim. Projenizde sunduğunuz proje fikrinin, önerinin gerçek hayatta bir karşılığının olması önemli. Bu gerçekten dikkate alınan bir durum. Farklı paydaşların ihtiyaçlarını karşılayıp karşılamadığına bakılıyor. Bir endüstriyel ekosistem oluşup buna katkıda bulunup bulunmadığı önemli. Yapılan yatırımın geri dönüşümlü olması çok önemli. Proje bitiminde hedeflenen çözümlere ulaşılabilmesi, bu çözümlerin pazarda, iş dünyasında ya da akademik dünyada bir karşılığının olması, satılabilir olması yalnızca ticari anlamda değil, kullanılabilir olması, başkaları tarafından talep edilebilir olması önemli. Ve en önemlisi de aslında ben son madde olarak düşünüyorum. Sizin burada ürettiğiniz çözümler misyonunuzla, vizyonunuzla, stratejik planınızla ve ticarileştirme hedeflerinizle uyumlu olmalı. Yalnızca projeye girmeyi ben tavsiye etmiyorum. Çünkü çok fazla kaynak ayrılıyor. Çok fazla zaman, emek veriliyor. Bunların gerçekten değere dönüşmesi önemli. Bunları ifade etmek istedim. Son olarak ben TÜBİTAK'a teşekkür etmek istiyorum burada nezdinizde. TÜBİTAK Ufuk 2020 için çok önemli desteklerde bulundu. Ödüller yine program içinde yer aldı. Biz aktif olarak kullandık. Biz sanırım iyi bir kullanıcıydık bu kapsamda. Seyahat desteğinden koordinatör desteği, ağlara üyelik desteği gibi desteklerden yararlandık. Çok katkısı oldu. Bu destekler olmasaydı eminim bugün yaptıklarımızı yapamazdık. Ve bunun için de tekrar teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Beni dinlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ederim. Sanırım sorular varsa sonrasında alacağız. Thank you so much, Odysseus. This is all from me.
Thank you, Perrine. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very interesting. I tried to forward it in English. Oh, sorry, I was listening to the. Okay. We have one question for you, Perrine. If the collaboration tool that you have developed and presented can be used by others, and which database is it using, Cordis or anything?
Okay. We are using Cordis database, and we are crawling this database together. These data sets, and the beta version of this program is present in our website, but it needs, in fact, development, improvement. But for now, they can use it, and if they use it, please provide us your feedback, and we will try to improve it. Thank you.
Good, very good, very good. We can accept a few more questions. We are a bit late, but I think it was a very interesting webinar, and we managed to cover a very wide aspect of cluster 4. It's one of the biggest clusters, and it has interconnections with all others. So I think it's more like a horizontal cluster than a vertical one, but still there are plenty of opportunities for digitization, for digital transformation. And in fact, digital transformation is one of the priorities of European Commission. So there are plenty of opportunities for you. And of course, as all speakers pointed out, you need to study the policies, you need to understand what is the problem and the challenges before you go and start working on them and on proposals and try to join a consortium. Ale, would you like to add anything?
Actually, I'd like to thank all our speakers for their great contribution to our events. And I'd like to also thank our participants for staying with us up to this time. I hope this event is going to be a starting point for our stakeholders to take place in Horizon Europe Cluster 4 calls.
Yes, I hope to. I hope to. It's quite early, but we've started early this time, and of course we will organize more events. But I would urge all participants to study this material, familiarize themselves with the calls and the work programs, because now it's the time if you want to start thinking. Once a proposal is announced, or once a call for proposals is announced, sometimes it's often too late. And if you would like to participate to Horizon Europe, you need to start identifying the calls that you are interested in now, so that you can build or join the winning consortium. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Perrine. Thank you, Halle. Thank you, Diamandis. I would like to thank all participants as well. And of course, all our presentations will be uploaded along with the video of the video recording of this event. And we're always open to any further questions that may come up later on. Once again, thank you all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.